The reviews are in, and BitHarmony is a hit. The New York Times calls it immaculate. Rolling Stone raves an immaculate podcast. Rotten Tomatoes certified freshes us with this review.
Only 2 words can describe BitHarmony. Immaculate.
And Chicago Tribune declares, this is truly, without hyperbole, the most immaculatest audio event of this or any lifetime. Now sit back, relax, and let Matt and Seth immacularize your soul. Welcome to BitHarmony.
You're listening to BitHarmony, a video game music podcast. We're the video game music podcast.
That's right.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Seth.
Today we are talking about Kirby Canvas Curse. If you've ever doubted that I was restraining myself from just bombarding you with my what I want to do episodes on, it should be this. It should be the fact that it took us over 10 episodes to do a Kirby soundtrack. I mean, it only took us 11 episodes to do a Kirby soundtrack, so I guess it's like restraint. It's not full-on restraint. You're still getting a bit of it. But yeah, today we're doing Kirby Canvas Curse. Looking forward to this one. I feel like it's going to be a weird one.
Me too. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, as a quick note, this happened kind of spur of the moment, but I figured since like every song in Kirby Canvas Curse is a remix of an older Kirby song, for every break, we're going to play you the original Kirby song and then the Canvas Curse remix of it, kind of like our Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door episode. With that said, our intro of this episode is Grassland 1 from Kirby's Dream Land 3 and Ravine Road from Kirby Canvas Curse, and we will be right back. that was Grassland 1 from Kirby's Dream Land 3. God, these names are going to get confusing, I feel like. And Ravine Road from Kirby Canvas Curse. So I guess real quick, we don't need to get super deep into any kind of gameplay specifics. I guess we're going to have a whole dedicated section of that. But like, what are your experiences with, on a high level, with like both Kirby Canvas Curse and Kirby's Dream Land 3?
Yeah, it's funny. Like my first note about this song is just Dreamland 3 is a cool game. Like I like that game, and I remember playing that. Like the Super Nintendo is a pretty amazing system for both what it can do visually and sonically, like what that sound chip is capable of, what they're capable of graphically. Like Dreamland 3 has such a cool art style, like that kind of coloring book art style that it has. I really love. And yeah, like you look at some of the stuff on Super Nintendo, everything from something like Earthbound to this, to like Yoshi's Island or something, to like even like 3D stuff or stuff like Donkey Kong Country. Like it's crazy the things that the Super Nintendo is capable of, and I think this music is a good example of that. And then yeah, like Canvas Curse, I played it when it first came out as a launch day DS adopter, and I played basically every early DS thing, and yeah, I really enjoyed it when it first came out, but I had never really like properly evaluated the soundtrack until doing this episode, and I also had never revisited it until doing this episode, and I played a bit of it on Delta, and just like, I don't know, kind of had a good time like going back to the game and replaying it, not all the way through, but just kind of like spending some time with it for the first time in nearly 20 years.
Yeah, 2005, right? Yeah, it's insane that this game is nearly 20 years old. Yeah, I'll echo the Kirby's Dream Land 3 sentiments. I think that game is like probably the most underrated mainline Kirby game. I do still think it is one of the weaker single player platformer Kirby games, but as a co-op game, I think it's actually maybe my favorite co-op Super Nintendo game. And that's pretty high praise. There's a lot of good co-op Super Nintendo stuff on the system. I'll say about Grassland 1, that's probably my favorite song on the whole OST, which is interesting because it's literally the first stage music that you hear. It just sounds like the first level of a Kirby game. I like that there's a tuba. Always expecting a tuba out of like a Super Nintendo song. It was just a great little song. When it comes to Ravine Road, I thought, okay, I made the claim at the very end of the previous episode that Kirby Canvas Curse, and I made this offhand, that Kirby Canvas Curse is maybe the best Kirby soundtrack that isn't like Forgotten Land or something. I do not have that opinion now. I'm not saying that it's bad or anything, but I hadn't revisited this in so long that in my head 20 years ago, playing this and being like a Kirby fan and hearing all these remixes of old beloved Kirby themes, I was like, oh wow, this is incredible. Whereas now I'm just like, yeah, this is still pretty good overall, but like it's not doing anything too crazy. It's just like a solid, I don't know, like mix of a bunch of different Kirby songs, and they're kind of glitched out a little bit. They're kind of electronic versions of their original songs. So that's cool, but it's not doing as much interesting stuff as in my head I remembered it doing.
Sure.
But yeah, again, Ravine Road, I think both Grassland 1 and Ravine Road are doing, again, kind of what you want them to do out of like early stage Kirby soundtracks. I think Ravine Road is in the first set of stages. You can select every world, and Canvas Curse has 3 levels, and you can select and do them in whatever order you want, but I think this is in the first set of stages. It just makes sense. It's just like a glitchy version of Grassland 1.
Glitchy really is the best way to describe a lot of this stuff. Like, it's really interesting from a few different perspectives. Like, it's kind of cool that we're doing this episode right after like the remixes, episode, because Like that is so much what this entire soundtrack is, but it definitely also, I mean, yeah, like that aesthetic was very like prevalent in the early 2000s, that kind of glitched out, sort of industrial aesthetic. And this soundtrack, for what it's worth, like it's remixing a bunch of old Kirby songs, but like it's doing it with that sort of like oral identity in mind while still making it feel true to the aesthetic of Kirby. And I find that really interesting. Really cool. I will say something that listeners will notice, especially if y'all have never really like stopped and listened to Kirby music before. For me, the number one like identifier of Kirby music is these like arpeggiated chords where they'll just like, a chord structure is made up of just like, if you break it down, it's like an atom or a molecule or something. Like you can break it down as far as you want, and like a chord can be made up of several different chords, and Kirby music always arpeggiates them. So it's just like, it's just like going off the entire time behind just like these bubbly arpeggiated chords. That's present throughout the entire series. What's really interesting about something like this, for example, is Grassland 1 does have like the horns, the tuba, even like some brassy sounding horns. Like it's pretty amazing what the Super Nintendo sound chip could do, but like it's got those arpeggiated chords. But then when they got to Ravine Road and they were like making this glitchy, chunky, like more slowed down version, those same chords, they come in around the 25-second mark, they sound completely different now. They like delay them like a half step. They're almost off beat. Like it just, like it makes it makes it sound weird. Like it just makes it sound like a little weird and off color in a way that I found really interesting. Now, I'm not saying necessarily like good or like the best, whatever. This is no Forgotten Land, make no mistake, but
definitely
it is
not right.
It is interesting though, like I did, this was really cool to go and listen to.
And obviously we can't fit the whole soundtrack into an episode. I mean, I guess we could. We've probably come pretty close on some of these other episodes we've done, but I feel like I could have went way more down into like, the industrial sounding levels. Like there's actually quite a few that are like way more like hardcore
boss
into that
themes,
space.
Especially.
Yeah, the boss themes, the final boss theme. There's like literal like factory levels that have like this really driving beat. I think that those are remixes of Kirby 64 songs. So I didn't really notice, I just kind of tried to pick my favorites. So I didn't notice that like we didn't necessarily have the most of the industrial sounding things, but hey, there'll be time to put that in the background or something at some point maybe. I do think the soundtrack's very interesting. I have multiple interesting notes that like aren't historical, but is kind of my conjecture that we'll get to when we get to talking about the game in depth. But for now, I guess we're going to go on to our general housekeeping. We actually got like a lot to talk about today. Maybe not in the same way that y'all are used to, but we do have a bunch of stuff to go into. This first thing that you have here, I wasn't aware of this. I was not aware of this until we got on this call to start recording. You were adding this while I was waiting for you to get on. It is a comment from Wilk on the last episode that we did. Again, the remixes, rearrangements episode. We went off on a tangent about Mario Kart as a series, and Wilkins just chimed in with Mario Kart 64 is by far the worst. Which I will co-sign. Mario Kart 64 is indeed by far the worst one.
Yeah, we were talking about Mario Kart, I think, because of Presto's voicemail last week, and it's really funny getting like comments like that out of context, especially on Spotify. I love Spotify comments, y'all. Like if y'all want to leave Spotify, I think it's such a cool feature. And what'll often happen is I'll go to Spotify just for like quick links to the iTunes listing and stuff to check for reviews. So when I'm adding those to our notes to shout them out on the show, I'll see everything kind of at once. And like seeing this comment from Wilk just kind of made me happy. Like I was like, oh, right. Like we did talk about that. And I like to imagine that he like paused the episode while listening to it to leave that comment.
It's funny because Wilkins will know exactly who I'm talking about. We have a friend, a mutual friend that we've known since high school, who is the very typical, like, I haven't changed my opinions about basically anything
Sure.
since high school in 20 years kind of thing. And he had an N64 hooked up in his parents' basement, like not 20 years ago, but like 10 years ago. So he'd be like, hey guys, come over. We're going to play GoldenEye in my parents' basement, and we're going to play Throwing Knives in the Caves, right? Or him and another friend of ours had this like whole, like, it lasted like a whole winter, I think, of them keeping track. They played like hundreds of Mario Kart 64 races and were keeping track of who won every single race and whatever. And he insisted, was just, you couldn't talk him down. Mario Kart 64 is the best, not just the best Mario Kart, but like the best game of all time, basically.
Wow.
It's like, my dude, you are out of your mind. Like,
that's crazy.
Again,
yeah.
it's fine if you like Mario Kart 64, but maybe it's not. But like, don't do this. Like, it's okay to like change your opinions a little bit. And the thing is, he refused to play any of the more recent ones. Like when Mario Kart 8 came out, people are like, dude, check out the Mario Kart 8. There's even like an N64 Rainbow Road track in here. It's super cool. And he's like, no, it's not as good as Mario Kart 64. It's just like, all right, man. So I think over the years, Wilkins and I, we internalized this just seething hatred of Mario Kart 64, specifically because of that friend. So I imagine, yeah, maybe he didn't even have to pause it. Maybe he just let that hatred seethe under his skin until the episode was finished, and then he came over.
That was his big takeaway. Well, it all makes so much sense now. Yeah. I love it. Okay. Well, we had that comment from Wilka. We also had a new anonymous 5-star rating on Spotify. So that brings us up now to 15. So I don't know who you are that left that, but thank you, whoever you are that left that. Another quick note, Spriteless in the Discord did let us know that you can now rate podcasts on Pocket Casts. And that's where they listen to the show, I guess. And they rated us 5 stars over there. And you can as well if you're a Pocket Casts listener, so that's very much appreciated. Thank you, Spriteless, for flagging that.
Yeah, thanks. And I'll just say, I've just have always used the Apple podcast thing, even though it's gotten worse and worse over the years. Like it is a bad podcast app, which is weird because you think, how can you have a bad podcast app? But it just is. So I don't know anything about Pocket Cast. I'll just say that I think the name sounds really pleasant. It sounds like a Game Boy game where you're like, maybe like a fishing game, like Pocket Cast.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I know a few people who listen on a Pocket Cast. So yeah, if y'all listen to the show on that, you can rate us there now. I don't have a good way of like seeing it, but but if you let me know, like I'm happy to shout out your review as well. So thanks again, Spriteless, for flagging that. And then we did get a written review on iTunes from an old friend of yours. Is it Siggy444?
I never asked, but I would assume so. Yeah.
Okay. Siggy444 on iTunes. The review is titled Extra Good. And the review is, just want to say 15-year friend of Mr. Murray's here. From the day I met the guy, he has been quite literally one of the biggest influences on me as far as VGM goes. I can't count how many times he's turned me on to immaculate sounding jams with a Z. That just sends me down a rabbit hole. After all these years of strictly being online friends, it's an honor to be able to hear it all in podcast form. Seth as well, super knowledgeable and passionate, so it would seem. Looking mighty forward to all your guys' recommendations / discussions. Thank you guys. So there you go.
Yeah, Siggy is one of the people in the early 2000s episode. I talked about Dragon Ball Zeta and Dragon Ball Onslaught on the Beyond network. He is one of the people that I met there. Yeah, it's funny. With Siggy, it's one of those things. We'll just go for a few years without talking, and then like he'll message me out of nowhere and be like, "Yo, did you see the remake in Mario RPG?" Like it's that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, he had messaged me. I think it was specifically a Kirby remix, like on YouTube or something. It literally was like the day we recorded the previous episode. I'm like, oh, hey, I guess I never told you we're doing this video game music podcast. So I linked it to him, and yeah, he seemed pretty excited about it. He seemed genuinely pretty stoked to just have hours and hours and hours of video game music podcast stuff to listen to.
There you go. You came to the right place. Kind words. Thank you for the review. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. It's been nice to hear from you again the past couple years. It was also funny because when he messaged me for the first time after I moved to Germany, he's asking me what I was doing. I'm like, yeah, I live in Germany now to get married. And he's like, the country?
Kind of a wild piece of news to drop. Yeah,
that's true. It is. With that said, I don't have that many specific thoughts about the previous episode. I do have some thoughts that we'll get into about Bit Harmony in general, but do you have any specific thoughts on Oops All Remixes, as we called it?
Not real. I mean, first of all, shout outs to us for that title. Good title.
Yeah, that just came to me when I was editing the episode. I'm like, what should we call this thing? I'm like, oh, just Oops All Remixes. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's always like that. Always elicits a laugh out of me. Like anytime there's a Oops All Berries, Crunch Berries reference, always makes me laugh. So yeah, I liked that. It was a good episode. I enjoyed listening back to that one. And also it's the kind of thing that I feel like I foresee us returning to that topic several times in the future, and like at that point I'll just go back and rename it like Oops All Remixes Volume 1 or something, right. And then like we can do Volume 2 or whatever. It's like you and I both could have very easily done another like 20 picks,
right?
So,
yeah, like I have so many that we didn't even touch on. I even went purposefully for like a lot of like my not favorite ones, just because I'm like, yeah, I'll save these for a different episode.
Yeah.
I don't think I really have any specific thoughts about that episode either. It was just good. Yeah. I enjoyed listening back to it. It was a good varied selection of music. It was just good. I also will say the like playing, symphonic orchestra stuff. I was wondering how that would play like on this podcast, but yeah, it was fine. It turned out very fun.
Yeah. I thought so.
I will say, in terms of Bit Harmony in general, it's funny that the news that the next season of The Circle is premiering on September 11th.
Huge.
I found that out like 2 days ago. And I kind of thought about like adding it in here as a joke. Like, hey guys, if you want to hear Circle talk, you don't have that much longer to wait. But then I was catching up with Boogs, the person that does the voiceover for our intros each week. Or each episode, each week. I thought I would have been over that by now, but
I still do it too, dude. Yeah.
And he was saying, he was like in the middle of catching up on the latest episode. And he's like, yeah, I've listened to all the episodes except for the Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door episode. And I was like, oh, why? Because like he doesn't play like most of these games, right? It's not like he doesn't know anything more about Super Monkey Ball than he does about Paper Mario. So I was just curious. He's like, oh, it's because him and his girlfriend are, they're currently going through The Circle. So when he got to the part where we talked about The Circle, he turned it off. So I thought that was really funny.
That's a hilarious reason to stop listening to a video game music podcast.
But he's right, because he asked me, he's like, did you guys like talk about like real spoilers? I'm like, yeah, we talked about like, who won and everything. Yeah.
We definitely did. I guess just under the presumption that nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's
funny because I think you and Boogs are the only people that I personally know that watch The Circle, and I knew Boogs did, and I figured he would listen to the podcast, but I just assumed he's always way ahead of me on stuff like that, so I would have assumed that he had finished it by now. So
or to skip through it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he said he'll go back and listen to it once they're caught up on The Circle. But yeah, I genuinely laughed at that. I was like, oh yeah, that is the episode where we talked about this.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I forgot all about that. I mean, look, I'm gonna watch the new season. Like I always watch The Circle, so I'm sure there will be more Circle talk whenever the time comes.
It's funny you mentioned like offhand to me that like the 1,000 Year Door episode like had less listens than a lot of the other ones.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, exactly. You and I were trying to be like, I would have thought that would have been one of the higher ones. The only reason we could come up with was that like maybe people don't want to spoil themselves because the remake had just come out or whatever. But turns out they didn't want to spoil themselves, but not on Paper Mario. It's just specifically the Circle Season 6.
Yeah, they really don't want to know about our thoughts on the Circle Season 6. That's fair. I mean, I get it, I guess. I should have timestamped it, I guess.
Yeah. I guess, hey, that's a good segue. Speaking of timestamps, we had a whole discussion in the Discord in the past like week about like voicemails and like the length of time we dedicate to stuff or whatever. So I'm hereby, this is a new segment of the show called With Apologies to Sparky's Son, who went to listen to our Stardew Valley episode and was left appalled that it took us like over an hour to get to the actual Stardew Valley music. Yeah. Again, that's been something that I've had in the back of my head and been conscious of as the show has gone on. Yeah, sometimes we get a little indulgent. I agree. I think in the future we're gonna just handle things a little differently. It's gonna be like on an episode to episode basis. Today we're still gonna play all the voicemails back to back, but these are all much shorter ones that shouldn't take too much time.
Right.
We will, in fact, until you said the timestamp thing, I totally forgot that we agreed. We told people we would timestamp, so I'm glad you reminded me because I totally forgot that we were going to apparently timestamp the episodes. And hey, in the future, then you'll be able to avoid circle spoilers.
That's true.
Much more easily then. Yeah,
that's true. Well, and I think a lot of people kind of like timestamps. I mean, it seems like, and I had always thought like, well, if people request it or something, I'll do timestamps. And it seems like maybe it'll be useful for people who want to skip, like to get right to the plot, to get right to the meat of the episode. But, like there are a million different ways that we could go about doing all of this. And like, rest assured that we have considered them all. And nobody's thought about this more than we have. So, it's the kind of thing where like, we've weighed a ton of different options, and ultimately what I really want to make sure that we're not doing is like neutering like the flavor of the show or like what makes the show special or whatever, and like, cutting off any potentially good discussion that can happen as a result of things like voicemails or tangents or circle spoilers or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I don't know. I think timestamps will hopefully alleviate some of that. So if you're listening and if you're like, guys, just like shut up and get to the plot, you can check the episode description and easily just hit the timestamp and it'll take you straight to it. So hopefully that alleviates some of those concerns.
And a quick note, I don't know if we've ever said this on the actual show. If you look at each episode notes, you can also see every single song that we play in the episode in chronological order. We have YouTube playlists for each individual episode with every single song that we play, once again, in chronological order, and a Bit Harmony master list, which has already over 300 songs.
That's
with
crazy.
Every single video game song that we have played on the show. I exclude non-video game songs in terms of the master list, but so if you ever are like, oh, it would be cool, what was that song again? You can pretty easily find it. Maybe less so on episodes like the early 2000s where we played like 50 songs in there, but you should still be kind of able to find it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people listen to podcasts and don't pay any mind to like the episode descriptions or the show notes or whatever. But we actually put a lot of work into those, and there's a lot of like good handy information if you're a fan of the show to find in there, to now include timestamps to get to the sections of the show you want to hear. So
with that said, that has been our first apology to Sparky's son. I'm sure there will be many more in the future. Do we then want to get into the voicemails?
Let's do it. Our first voicemail is a quick one. It's from Wilk. So let's hear what Wilk has to say.
Hey guys, I was ready to call this show an all-timer. I was ready to really say this is probably one of the best podcasts of all time, and then this past episode, some things kind of changed. They played ska. they played ska.
Very good.
I just want to note, so first of all, I guess I've never talked to Wilkins about ska. Wilkins was a huge influence on my taste in music, or I say is in general. Introduced me to a lot of cool stuff. I guess we never talked about ska. Ska somehow has never come up in our like 15-year friendship. Look, man, I remember I have very vivid memories in like 2005 of like holding hands with like goth girls while listening to Cake in the background. Okay,
Let's
like,
go.
Ska is just a part of my DNA. It's just a part of what's going on in there to some degree. I mean, yeah, like we got into it in the YouTube comments. Yeah, ska's bad. Like no one's denying that. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Also, I'm gonna quickly also call Wilkins out publicly. Like, you listen to 100 Gex. Like,
Dude,
I don't care.
I was just about to say that. That's exactly. I was like, it's wild that 100 Gex fan is making fun of us for liking ska. That's wild. It's crazy, dude. And look, I appreciate, for the record, I appreciate 100 Gex for being just like loudly and boldly exactly what they are.
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
that's also what I like about ska. You know what I mean?
But with ska, there's more trumpets.
Right. Yeah, more horns. That's right. That's so funny. My head went to the exact same place. That's so funny.
It was such low hanging fruit. I had to go for it. So I'm glad you also were gonna go for it.
Yeah. Well, appreciate your voicemail, Wilk. All the same. Okay, well let's hit this voicemail from Presto next here. Let's see what Presto has to say.
Hey there, it's Presto again. I quite enjoyed your remixes and rearrangements episode, and that's an episode, like, I could just see you doing another one of those episodes at a later point in time, because there's so many different remixes and rearrangements to do. As for Kirby's Canvas Curse, I have played probably like 2 hours of the game. I think it's a pretty fun game. I was getting a bit frustrated at the touch controls and mechanics of it, and it wasn't my favorite, but as far as the music went, I thought it was all pretty standard, which means I'm very excited to see what y'all talk about on this episode. And then finally, random song of the episode. I'm going to give you, let me double check the name, TKO Artwork Creation from the Jackbox Party Pack 3. That's your random song. This one's iconic if you played TKO. If you haven't played TKO and Jackbox Party Pack 3, good luck, I guess. Hope you all have a great episode. Signing out.
Thanks, Presto.
Yeah, thanks, Presto. Over the course of the build up to us recording this episode, Presto revealed that he was not born when Kirby Canvas Curse came out. And
Jesus. Yeah. I mean,
that. It's interesting, right? Because like, 20 years ago, like, yeah, I was getting into NES games, and I hadn't been born when the majority of those came out. So like, again, we talked about it before. I think it's cool. I think it's cool that Presto goes out of his way to try things like that.
He does, yeah.
And, depending how you play it, so I will make a quick note. I also emulated it a little bit on my phone, also a little bit on my wife's graphic tablet, which was pretty cool, but it wasn't working exactly how I wanted it to. The touchscreen controls were getting a little frustrating. I imagine a lot of that would have been alleviated if I was playing it on an actual DS with a stylus. My phone is too small and my fingers are too large for Kirby Canvas Curse to like, it actually requires quite a bit of precision.
Big time. Yep.
Especially in like the mid and late game. And the boss fights, the one where you got the drawing, the connect the dots, like,
oh yeah.
I couldn't do them on my phone. I was like, am I gonna have to like go download like a cheat thing and like give myself unlimited health or something? That was rough. I guess real quick, when it comes to the artwork creation, the TKO artwork creation song, we're not gonna take a break. This isn't explicitly just because of hurting Sparky Sun's feelings, but also it just didn't seem like a song we need to take a break for, if that makes sense. I hope that, again, you don't take offense to that, Presto. So I've never really sat down with any of the Jackbox Party Pack games. I've played like I played like a tiny bit of one once. but I and everyone else was like drunk, so it just isn't something that like stuck in my head, you know.
Sure.
This is the one where you're drawing T-shirts, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you draw T-shirts. Everybody draws something with a prompt, and then like you also come up with like a slogan, and the game kind of mishmatches the slogans and the drawings to just make these like silly, you know, random shirt combinations, and you vote on which one's the best.
Right. So like I remember seeing like Giant Bomb playing this one, and yeah, it seemed like a bunch of fun. Is that in my notes? I had the question on like, is this one of like the most popular Jackbox games? I feel like this is the one like that like really broke through out of like the gamer bubble and was like popular all around.
Yeah, I'd say so. I have extensive experience with the Jack. It's actually, the Jackbox games have become pretty big staples in my family. It's kind of a go-to, like if we're going over for Thanksgiving or Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever, I'll usually have my Switch and I'll slap that on the TV, and it's nice because everybody can just play on their phones and stuff like that, and the rules are pretty simple to understand. So like we played like all of these things, and yeah, I would say TKO for a few reasons. Like it's pretty like memeable, you know, like some of the silly combinations that can happen. The game also has some cool functionality where they have it set up to where at the end of your game, like it will generate purchase links for you to buy shirts.
Right.
Like actual shirts of them. I've never done that. I've always wanted to, but it costs like $40 or something to do that. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But we have designed some like really fun and stupid shirts on there before, and it's a good time. I will say though, I don't know that I've ever stopped to regard the music in TKO even once. Like as much as I played it, and so it was kind of interesting hearing this, and like I'm like, man, like I don't even remember like the music sounding like this. It's got like weirdly, it was giving me like Runner 2 vibes. The music.
I can kind of hear that, especially like, I don't know, it went back and forth between like very light and like there's like weird like ha-ha-ha-ha's like vocal kind of thing, and then all of a sudden it'd be like really crunchy guitar right after that. I thought was interesting.
That's the Runner 2 flavor. Like in Runner 2 sometimes, like especially when you're getting to like the end of the levels, like sometimes some guitar will come in there, you know. It was kind of giving me that a little bit. There's like this muted, like I think it's like a muted glockenspiel. Like the way a glockenspiel works is interesting. When you mute it, you have like this damper bar that you kind of like lift up to mute those keys. And I think it sounds like they're playing that with like spoons or something. Like it just has this kind of wacky sound to it. And yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. And like I have never once stopped to listen to that music before now. So I appreciate Presto for putting that on our radar.
Yeah, it's I would say this is definitely the most random of the Arsotes so far that he sent in.
That's true, yeah.
And then like the really like dorky like archivist part of my brain really like derives pleasure from the idea that like now in the Bit Harmony master list on YouTube, it's gonna have just a random Jackbox party pack song on there. You know, like it's I don't know. I like that. I like, you know, on my personal video game music playlist, I have like music from like the unreleased Super Nintendo Waterworld game on there. You know, I like stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I didn't really have many notes on the song other than it wasn't at all what I expected. And yeah, it was contrasting a lot more than I thought it would. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not that big on like organized activities at get-togethers like this in general. Again, unless people are drinking, and then I'm more okay with it. But otherwise, I'm just kind of like, I just want to sit here and like talk to people, kind of thing. But I don't know. That might not be a popular opinion. Did we have any other notes, or did you have any other notes on the TKO artwork creation song?
No. I think we pretty much covered it. We do have one last voicemail from Shy Guy, and I really enjoy this prompt here. So let's hear from Shy Guy.
Hello, Bit Harmony. It's Shy here, and I've got a question for you. What if we flip the script a little bit, and we treat Bit Harmony like it's a video game with an original soundtrack? It has hit songs such as the Horn Boys brainstorm an idea for an episode, voicemails or Matt edits an episode, or Seth searches for YouTube comments, and similarly hits songs, who are you guys going to choose as the composer for your soundtrack?
What a question.
Yeah. So for one, again, obligatory thank you, Shy Guy.
Thank you, Shy Guy.
I know this isn't what he's asking, but when he mentioned like imagining like a song set to me editing an episode, the first thing that immediately came to mind out of already existing video game songs was Dancing Mad, because it's from Final Fantasy VI, the final boss of Final Fantasy VI.
Right.
Just because indeed I am dancing mad at that point. Also, it's like a 14-minute odyssey, which is a pretty big thing for a Super Nintendo game song. So that was immediately what came to mind. Imagining myself, the music playing beneath me editing an episode was
Mad
definitely
with power.
Dancing Mad. Yeah,
a Kefka-esque figure when Matt's editing Bit Harmony. Truly.
So honestly, this question came in pretty hot, or this voicemail came in pretty hot. I do have like a couple thoughts on it, but I don't have like I didn't come to a definitive answer that I would like. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a definitive answer, but the closest I've come to arriving at one is Tim Follin as the composer, for a few reasons. First of all, like, probably the composer that like we've shouted out a couple of times on the show for having like a very a varied catalog, and also being like the composer that I think a couple times has come up as being like just really surprised that like he was the one that, you know, that worked on some of the songs that we've shouted out and stuff. And I also think that a lot of the sensibilities and like flavors, I guess, of the show, I feel like Tim Follin could really pull off. You know, a lot of those kind of just like, those prog rock things, you know, that we tend to like. I feel like there could be some atmospheric vibes in there. He's the closest I got to landing on, because, you know, it'd be easy for me to like shout out just some of my favorite composers or whatever, or people I would love to work on a Bit Harmony game. But I think the one that feels the most true to me is Tim Follin.
Yeah, my immediate thought was someone that we featured on the show, and in that case, like, I mean, yeah, we have had Tim Follin music on the show, but specifically I think of Melos Hantani and ZC,
right,
who were, you know, that was the second and third episode with Anodyne 2 and Pepper Grinder. And also ZC specifically has like the Horn Boys. That might even be where Horn Boys came from. I don't remember.
I think so.
But yeah, those felt like too easy of answers, because also like those just are two of my favorite modern composers anyway at this point. Like this is why I didn't have like a good definitive answer, and maybe I'll even like think about it more and then try and answer this more thoroughly on the next episode, maybe, if we have time for it. Because again, I could easily say, Yuzo Koshiro, like that's my favorite, but that doesn't really, I don't think that really fits. I don't even know their name, and I think actually I put this under us while we were talking about the Circle. It might not have even been the Paper Mario episode, but I think about the soundtrack to Paperboy, which is the most getting up to something music there is. Because when I think of Bit Harmony, even more than Horn Boys, I honestly just think of getting up to something music, and that is getting up to something music. That's sneaking out at night to go see your girlfriend in a cornfield when you shouldn't be, kind of thing.
Funky, yeah, real funky, smoky, walking down the street, you know, that kind of music. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting prompt though. Like, it's funny because there's been both when like we were doing All In and even like over at Carpool Gaming, like people will sometimes say like, what if this thing was a video game? And I'm like, I don't even know like what that would look like at all, first of all, but I kind of do weirdly like thinking about it though. Like, I've always wanted to make or be a part of a video game, and I think at this point in my life and career, my best pathway to that is through voiceover work, but I've always wanted to be a part of some kind of video game, so it is fun to think about.
I imagine a Bit Harmony video game is like the most boring simulator in the world, and everyone is very sweaty, and that's what it is to me.
Yeah, very, very sweaty, very shirtless in the summer heat. That's just how it is.
I will say over here, the past 2 days were like super nice, like high 60s. Like I'm like, okay, this is perfect podcasting weather. And normally we would have recorded on one of those days, but my wife's work schedule is so weird this week. And then today it's like 80 and just nah. Like,
oh yeah, dude.
Of course we missed the good days, and now we gotta talk about Kirby Canvas Curse for 7 hours while I'm just sweating up a storm over here.
It's currently like 9:30 a.m. and it's like 89 degrees outside already here.
Oh god.
Yeah. It's rough down here these days.
I follow this. Okay, here's our first big tangent, I guess. I follow this YouTube channel. I don't know their name. I'd have to look it up. But they bought like the computer system that the Weather Channel used to generate like their weather stuff, like in the late 90s and early 2000s. So like it's basically just like it is current weather for whatever location that they're selecting at the moment, but it's with these retro Weather Channel graphics and like smooth jazz sounds and whatever. And in the summers when I was a kid, my cousin and I, she was super like witchy. Like she liked getting books from the library about like witches and stuff.
Oh,
I haven't talked to her in like 20 years. She's probably into like crystals and whatever now. I don't know. But so in the summer, we would just leave it on the Weather Channel like all day, every day when she was over, and because she liked like tornado stuff, like watching tornado footage or whatever, whereas I just like the smooth jazz. But yeah, I follow this channel on YouTube. I think last night they were streaming weather for like the Philadelphia area, I think. And my wife was just laying on the couch kind of like tired and not wanting to do anything. So I just turned that on, and she was very fascinated. Like she was glued to the TV screen, just looking at footage, or not even footage. It's literally like 2002 era Weather Channel graphics with smooth jazz on top, and they're giving you like the golf report, like how good of like golf weather the next couple days are, and like, hey, should you water your plants today, kind of thing. She couldn't get enough of it. I was happy because I tried to explain to her how much the Weather Channel meant to me as an 8-year-old.
Absolutely.
And she just didn't get it. Honestly, when I really think about like my taste in music, I think the Weather Channel might be the biggest influence on it. Maybe Donkey Kong Country, but honestly, I think it's probably more the Weather Channel.
I'm gonna need you to send me that link after we do the show, because I need that in my life. I will fall asleep to that. As somebody who falls asleep to a compilation of 90s Chicagoland area commercials almost every night, that is right up my alley. Also, this is already one thing that I noticed as you were sharing that story. This is a very Midwest coded like episode so far. Like
Yeah.
there is something really that rings so true to me. Like every girl that I dated in like Chicago and stuff, they were all like, yeah, like witchy girls in cornfields, you know, like that was like a total like thing. That just like, I don't know, like that rang very true to me. Like growing up in the Midwest, it felt very accurate.
Dude, because there's nothing there but like tornadoes and cornfields.
Yeah, and tornadoes, totally. Yeah, like it's just a very, I don't know. Like I felt very like nostalgic when you were sharing that. I had a lot of flashbacks to girls I knew who were exactly like that. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of girls I had crushes on were like that. Don't take that as I had a crush on my cousin, but I'm just saying
right,
that
yeah.
on top of my cousin, a lot of other girls I knew were witchy. Is all I'm trying to say.
Like if you were like a teenage girl growing up in the Midwest, Wisconsin or Ohio or Illinois or whatever, like you were probably into crystals and tornadoes.
It's funny, a different cousin of mine, I guess she's more like she's like my great aunt's daughter, so I don't know what that makes her to me, but she's some kind of blood relation. But she's also like 10 or 15 years older than me. One of the last Thanksgivings I saw her at, in fact, I think it was the last Thanksgiving I saw her at, she was like the last person to leave, and she was trying to get my mom and grandma interested in investing in crystals or something. I was like, this is bad. Anyway, I guess we could stop talking about that now.
I was debating on sharing a story, but it might be a little much for this show. I'll tell you about it privately later.
Oh,
But
if it's too much for this show, I can't even begin to imagine.
It's maybe a little the TLDR, the tame version of the story is that like I dated a girl once when I was living in Chicago as a teenager, and I snuck out. I was staying with my biological father one summer, and snuck out and took a Greyhound bus to visit her in Wisconsin. She lived in Wisconsin, and I took the bus to see her. And I met up with her. It was the Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor was in theaters. and I snuck out to see her and like her and all of her friends. And like, it was really weird because I was like the online boyfriend and like all the friends wanted to meet me or whatever. And so we used going to see that movie as the excuse to like, you know, to do that, you know? And I remember going back to her house and like meeting her parents and stuff, but like, her whole like her mom was like that too. Like they had like, you know, like shrunken heads in their house and like
that's a step beyond what I've seen in my life.
Like they had like a bunch of plants. Like her dad, he passed. He was a really good dude. He passed away a few years ago. I talked to her. I still have her on my Facebook, and every now and then we still talk. And anyway, her dad was like
shrunk his head, I'm gonna lose it.
No, they didn't shrink his head, but the point is that like her whole family was kind of like that, and this is like, I just remember like she lived in the middle of nowhere in like Mequon, Wisconsin.
I know where Mequon is.
Yeah, and like I just remember like sitting in the back porch with like her and her family, just like totally flat fields, like overcast sky, and like I don't know, like I have like. I don't know, like just all this talking about this is flashing me right back to that. I was like 14 or 15 or something, taking a Greyhound bus to meet this girl, and yeah, I don't know, just really, I was wearing like, you know, trip pants that I bought at Hot Topic, you know.
Of course, yeah.
Like I don't know, it's weirdly nostalgic thinking about all of this. So.
Well, that's a good place to be because Kirby Canvas Curse are the original
I had my
show
DS
topic.
with me. Yeah,
Exactly.
I did have my DS with me. Yes.
Yeah, Kirby Canvas Curse is 20 years old. But before we get into that, let's go on a break. We're going to play you Kine the Fish from Kirby's Dream Land 2 and Silver Submarine from Kirby Canvas Curse, and we will be right back. And that was Kine the Fish from Kirby's Dream Land 2 and Silver Submarine from Kirby Canvas Curse. Get to say Kirby a lot in this episode, which makes me happy. Do you have any specific notes on either Kine the Fish or Silver Submarine?
Not a lot. First of all, Kine makes perfect sense, but I always pronounce it as Kine in my head.
I mean, it might be Kine. Yeah, it just spelled Kine. There's no accent or anything. Because it's Japanese, I just assume it's Kine. But yeah, I could see it being Kine also.
I'm sure you're right. I'm sure it is Kine. But for what it's always been Rick Kine-ku in my head, like for some reason. But yeah, I don't have a ton of notes. Like I really in Kine the Fish, like I really like that kind of leaned in, like whistly note that leads that core melody in the opening passage. I like the kind of I have a note here. It's got this kind of like laid back bass line. Like it kind of just feels like a hangouty song. I have in my notes here a real guys being dudes song.
Yeah.
That's the note I have. And then Silver Submarine, like one thing that was interesting listening to this is that it's pretty much immediately more fully formed, which I guess makes sense, but I kind of mentioned this earlier, like the way that you can kind of break down notes and chords into individual notes. That's kind of what they do here. Like those leaned in notes from the original are like individually broken down and replaced with a bunch of different like sounds now, like phone dialing sounds and like steam train whistle sounds. It's a very interesting soundtrack. This is a good example of that.
Yeah, when it comes to Kine, I mean, just guys being dudes. I mean, it's Kirby hanging out with the animal buddies. So kind of, to me, it feels like it's like cuteness and dopiness, like coupled together as a song. And that really fits because Kine is just like a big sunfish that Kirby just hangs out in his mouth. Like he literally transports Kirby around in his mouth. We don't need to get super into, like, again, I'm trying to avoid getting real specifically into any mainline Kirby game because I want this to basically just be a spin-off Kirby oriented episode. But since we're already here, we're already talking about it. What are your thoughts on like the animal buddy tier list from the Kirby games?
Oh, I mean, I love the animal buddies. I mean, I think Rick is probably always going to be my favorite. But I mean, like I love the idea that he has animal buddies at all. And I wish they were more prevalent, like in the modern age. Like I'm not saying that they need to be in like every Kirby game, but like it would have been kind of cool to see how they would have worked in like a 3D context in like Forgotten Land or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, with Forgotten Land, and we will, if the show goes on long enough, we will definitely do a Forgotten Land episode. It is one of my favorite games of the past decade. But there's so much like cool Kirby stuff from side-scrolling Kirby that just they didn't translate over to 3D yet with Forgotten Land. Like the Parasol copyability is my biggest wish. Like I couldn't believe that they didn't bring the Parasol over. If I'm thinking about like my favorite animal buddies, I mean I like all of them. Kine's always been pretty up there because again he's just like a big blue sunfish, like
just dumb.
He just looks dumb. Even in Kirby's Dream Land 2 when you're on the attract screen or when you first turn the game on, it does like this cool little intro where like the characters are like, flashing by in these bars. It's very dramatic considering it's just like a bunch of cute animals. And then he's just got like a dead stare forward, like he's just a big dumb sunfish. A thing I like about the animal buddies as a concept is that Kirby's copy abilities completely change per animal. So like Fire Kirby is different than Fire Kirby riding Rick, which is different than Fire Kirby inside of Kine's mouth. I don't know if it was Kirby's Dream Land 2 or 3, but Electric Kirby riding inside Kine is just a light bulb. Like Kine, the attack is just Kine spits out a light bulb and it flashes and sparks enemies.
Pretty good.
That's always been one of my favorite dumb throwaway Kirby copy abilities. When I think of Silver Submarine, this is maybe my favorite song in the game. I'd have to think about it for a bit. It also just really works well for the stage theme, which is I believe it was an underwater level. It should be with that name. And I think underwater levels are really good in Canvas Curse, like disproportionately good, because of the fact that Kirby is a ball in this game and you don't directly control him. Like, he's rolling around and you can manipulate the environment and him. So when it comes to water, Kirby just floats there. So you have to like get him under the water to progress. And we'll talk about it more when we get to the actual gameplay, but I think that is a really interesting conceit. I think in general, Kirby Canvas Curse is a game, like, they really kind of go all out with everything they probably could have, considering how simple of a game it overall is. And yeah, like you said, the just the varied instrumentation is like all over the place. Honestly, it sounds simple, but there's like an acoustic guitar MIDI around like 37 seconds in. I don't know, I couldn't believe it. This crappy like DS acoustic guitar MIDI, but it works. Like, it's not like I'm not trying to talk guff on the song. I think it really works. It's funny. It's funny that it's the super tinny fake acoustic guitar sound coming out while you're listening to the song. But I think I did have one other note, actually, that the DS was the first Nintendo handheld that had stereo audio. So like, they went all out with it in this soundtrack. Like, if you listen to the soundtrack with headphones, they're constantly flipping and doing cool stuff with like the different channels and where the audio is coming from. And I think this song is like maybe the best example of that, at least of the songs that I picked for this episode.
Yeah, a lot of sort of just going back and forth between channels. Yeah, it's good. I don't think this is my favorite one out of the ones that we've picked for the episode, but it is up there. It's really good. And I will say too, like, in terms of the animal buddies, like, they're all really strong designs. Like, I'm just kind of looking at these, here, and I'm just like, man, like, I don't know, it kind of bums me out. Like, I miss these guys. Like, I like them, man.
Yeah, they're very cute. I mean, yeah, this was from like the weird era of, I forget the director, but like the director of the Dreamland games in 64 is a different, like, he wasn't Masahiro Sakurai, and like, he didn't take over the series really after Kirby 64. So like, in the fandom, like, Kirby's Dreamland 1, 2, 3, and Kirby 64 are kind of viewed as like their own thing. And yeah, you can see that with just like, they just tried different things. They're kind of less gameplay oriented, if that makes sense. Like, they're more about like vibes, I feel like. But I still like basically all the mainline Kirby games besides Amazing Mirror. I'll also say, not gonna really have an excuse to bring this up, Gooey is one of my favorite characters in a video game ever, and they should also do more stuff with Gooey. I will say, Kirby Star Allies, as free DLC updates, they brought in Gooey and a few of the animal buddies. Like, they're kind of coupled together. I think it's 3 of the 6 act as one character with like different movesets. Like,
right,
like Pitch is there, and you can like use him as a bucket to toss water and stuff. Kirby Star Allies, not that good of a Kirby game, like, objectively, but as like Kirby fan service, it's actually pretty awesome to just give that a playthrough, especially post all these updates coming out.
Yeah, is that, I mean, that's probably the last time they even appeared.
Yeah, that has to be, unless aside from maybe like spin-off stuff. But I mean, I think that was the first time they had appeared outside of Smash Bros. Trophies in decades at that point too.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it does. So they bring back the animal buddies. Honestly, Forgotten Land 2, bring back the animal buddies. It'd be sick. Pitch. I never answered the question. I think Pitch, the green little bird, I think that's probably my favorite, just because he's got tiny little beady eyes. Anyway, when it comes to Kirby Canvas Curse, this was a 2005 release for the DS, also known as Kirby Power Paintbrush in EU and Australia. I kind of like Kirby Power Paintbrush. Maybe it's like one syllable too long or something, but it's kind of good. Power Paintbrush. As I said, was a fully touchscreen controlled Kirby spin-off game. I will also note, we're going to talk, I have a whole section dedicated to just talking about Kirby spin-offs. The internet at large seems to think that Kirby Canvas Curse is a mainline Kirby game, and I think that's insane.
No way.
It is a spin-off. Like, it doesn't matter that you like this one the most. It's still a spin-off. It's okay, but it is a spin-off. It's not a mainline Kirby game. the main conceit, as mentioned before, is that Kirby has been transformed into a ball. But the thing is, Kirby's already basically a ball, so it's just like his feet aren't there anymore.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's all it takes.
Yeah, because he literally is just a circle. I think even in Kirby's Adventure and stuff, like there was a ball copy ability. So like it really, it makes sense.
Yeah. First you draw a circle, like that's what it is.
That's how it starts. Yeah. But yeah, how this is accomplished is that Kirby, if you just like let him sit there, he just sits there unless he's on like a hill or something anything that gives him momentum, and then you can tap him with the stylus, or if you're a filthy pirate like us, with your finger, and that will give him a little speed boost. You can also hit enemies like that. Not always recommended because the speed boost, like your iframes on that speed boost, don't last for very long, so it's not always recommended to kill enemies that way. But generally speaking, you're more so tapping the screen, not on Kirby himself, but like on the environment and enemies and stuff. I find the biggest thing is that when you drag the stylus, you're creating like this rainbow path, and then Kirby, if you get it like beneath him and then go like up, then Kirby will follow that path up. So that's how like a lot of the platforming is handled. Like Kirby is kind of auto moving or not moving at all, and you are directing him by painting a path for him, basically. Again, we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. I just want to get the generalities out of the way, so don't worry, this isn't going to be like an hour episode of the show. We have plenty to say about Kirby Canvas Curse, just doing the generalities. This was directed by Motomi Katayama, and he just doesn't seem to have directed or really worked on mini games in general. I think from what I could find, this was the last game he was involved with at all.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I have his entire list of games he's worked on here. We don't need to go over all of them, but honestly, it's mostly like Ridge Racer games, and even then it was like a lot of special thanks. Like it wasn't even like huge listings for him. Were there any notable ones on this list for you, regardless of what his role in them was?
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, if we're talking regardless of the role, like I'm, I've always been a Kirby Air Ride fan. I like Kirby Air Ride quite a bit. Klonoa, I mean, I like Klonoa a lot. Never played Tekken 2, but that's a really significant, sort of touchstone there. And yeah, I mean, there's a few interesting things here, but it is weird when, especially, and I think we've even talked about this on the show before. Like if you go back to some of these kind of like older, games, like there are plenty of people who just kind of would work on one or two games, even if they're prolific games, like big Nintendo games like this, and then they would just kind of retire or like whatever the case may be, like the creator of Mega Man is the biggest example for me. Like I think that dude just made like Mega Man 1 and basically retired after that.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's weird because it's like, yeah, he clearly was working at Namco for most of his career, and then seemingly was working at HAL based on Kirby Air Ride and Kirby Canvas Curse, and then just kind of bounced. No one ever heard from him again. And yeah, it's hard to get too into it. Like, yeah, I love Klonoa Door to Phantom Isle. That is a fantastic game. But yeah, he's just a special thanks. So it's like I don't want to dedicate a ton of time to it here, Right. I mean, we could do a Klonoa episode. That game has a pretty good soundtrack, but
yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that this dude he made this beloved spin-off Kirby game, again, not mainline Kirby game. That like I feel like the larger Nintendo fandom that doesn't care that much about Kirby considers Kirby Canvas Curse the best game in the series. Again, we will talk about that more in depth because I strongly disagree.
That's really interesting to me. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Yeah, at the time of release, like, well, again, I'll save it. We'll talk about it in the next section.
Sure,
I think.
Sure.
But yeah, otherwise, this was composed by Jun Ishikawa and Tadashi Ikegami. Jun Ishikawa has basically been the main composer for the majority of the Kirby series since its inception. What's interesting is that the main notable exceptions I could find were he did not work on Kirby's Adventure, Kirby's Dream Land 2, and Kirby Dream Course. Those were composed by Hirokazu Ando, who also composed games for HAL for like 35 years. what I found interesting specifically about this in regards to Canvas Curse is that, half the soundtrack is made up of Kirby's Adventure and Kirby's Dream Land 2 songs. So it's like Jun Ishikawa and Tadashi Ikegami were like specifically trying to remix songs that like they hadn't worked on, I don't know. That's pure speculation on my part. I don't know if that was like a conscious decision of like, hey, it'd be fun to remix our coworkers' music, but that's kind of what the vibe I got from it. But again, that is just complete speculation on my part. And then similarly, Tadashi Ikegami, also a longtime HAL composer, and basically what I could see was that it's 99% Kirby music that he worked on, which is very interesting because I feel like HAL can't be that big of a company. Like they mostly put out Kirby games and like smaller things like Box Boy, and yet they have at least like 3 dedicated composers over there. I found that very interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, I wonder if that is a sort of like result of Sakurai or whoever being like a very musically minded person, somebody who cares a lot about that. If that was something that in the formation of the studio, if that was like something that was important from the jump, or if that sort of thing just kind of happens naturally. I don't know. I do find the point of them basically just like remixing Ando's music is funny, because you could kind of take that in 2 different ways. One could be like, oh, like, yeah, this would be like fun to go back and like, touch this music that I had nothing to do with and stuff for the first time. It could also be seen as like a power move.
I guess so, yeah.
Like, it could also be seen as like, oh, this is what I would have done. I don't think that's what it was, but it is kind of funny.
So. If that is what it was, they all still work together 20 years later, so I don't know how good that relationship would be. I just had a note here, or rather like a prompt. I don't know if you want to talk about it fully here, but yeah, I don't know. I just had like a prompt of like, how do we feel about like the decision to have this as like all fast-paced remixes of prior Kirby music?
I mean, I think it makes sense, right? Like for the time, that this came out, you're talking about that kind of early 2000s time frame. I think it makes perfect sense. And, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, because I know we're going to talk about this a little bit later too, but like, I also think about this kind of in the context of like when it came out compared to some of the other stuff I was playing on DS at that time, like early DS games that were very like, touchscreen heavy. I'm thinking of stuff like WarioWare Touched and like Yoshi Touch and Go and stuff like this. Like playing stuff like that and then going into something like Kirby Canvas Curse, like it's interesting because I feel like this game is kind of in basically every way, they're like, let's rethink what Kirby kind of means on the DS, and that extends to the soundtrack, I think, which probably, it makes sense why they would remix so much stuff. And Kirby has always been pretty open to like revisiting its past and remixing things from its past and stuff. Right. And, like that's kind of like a staple of the Kirby franchise. So I mean, like, considering everything, considering its placement in time and all that, it's not all that surprising. I think it makes quite a bit of sense.
Yeah, it's interesting. Also, like, yeah, even in Kirby's Adventure, which is the second game in the series, like the last set of levels is basically like a kind of remake of Kirby's Dream Land, the first game in the series. Like, so yeah, from as early as the second game in the series, they were already revisiting prior concepts and stuff. And yeah, it's interesting. I will also just note that like from a story standpoint, not that there's that much story here. Again, don't misunderstand me. I understand Kirby lore is amazing. I'm like the biggest proponent of Kirby lore there is, but this game doesn't really delve into any of that too much. But from a story standpoint, Kirby gets like transformed by like a witch into the ball form. So I think the idea is like this like painted world is glitched out and like corrupted. So I think that's where like the glitchy noises and stuff come from. So yeah, it makes sense both from like a meta standpoint of like, hey, this is kind of like a remixed Kirby game in general, as well as the fact that like, hey, from a story standpoint, everything is kind of goofed up here. But yeah, if we don't have any other notes on that front, you want to go on our next break?
Let's do it.
All right. We're going to play you on this break from Kirby's Adventure, Butter Building, which is fantastic. And then the remix from Canvas Curse, Silent Seabed. And we'll be right back. And that was Butter Building from Kirby's Adventure and Silent Seabed from Kirby Canvas Curse. You gave out an audible yes when we brought up Butter Building. Tell me about Butter Building.
I mean, it's just one of the best songs from the NES era.
Yes.
Straight up, I think. Like, it is wild how layered this song is from being on the NES. And yeah, I mean, I mentioned those arpeggiated chords. Like, this song is that. Like, to me, this is like one of the clearest examples of that Kirby identity. The bass line in the song is so chunky, especially for the NES. And one thing that I really like about this song is because it changes like the progression and like the sort of phrasing of the song every like 20 to 30 seconds, it really is just infinitely listenable. Like I could have Butter Building on a loop all day and never get tired of it. Like it's always kind of changing itself every 20 to 30 seconds, even though the song ultimately is a looping NES song. It's just a really brilliantly composed song.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that about like this is one of the best NES songs. Like, yeah, gun to my head, this is my favorite NES song, like song on the entire system. I think personally the only thing that could really come close is like something from Castlevania 3 or something, but even then
Sure.
I'd probably still go with Butter Building. Yeah, I don't have too many notes on it. I had a note about like, to me, like this kind of defined the Kirby sound, even though it didn't appear till Adventure, the second game in the series, but it really, like, this is like the Kirby song to me. It's just, yeah, so twinkly and poppy. Also just note that like Butter Building just sounds delicious. It brought to mind multiple things. Do you remember the episode of The Simpsons where Homer stops going to church and then he stays home in his underwear all day?
Yes.
And then he makes like a waffle and wraps it around an entire stick of butter.
Yes.
And you're obviously, as an adult, you're meant to think that's disgusting. As a kid, I'm like, that looks delicious. I would eat a butter with a waffle wrapped around, a very burnt waffle wrapped around it. Yeah, it also brought to mind the Leaning Tower of Chisa from a Goofy movie.
Oh yeah,
because
classic.
That also looked delicious to me as a kid, but now the thought of just stuffing Cheese Whiz in your mouth makes me gag. But hey, that's good. That's good character development. I've changed. I would no longer do that.
I will say I had a really gross. There are a few like weird little. I don't know if you had anything like this. When I was a kid, I did a lot of weird little food things. And one of them was every so often I would get a spoon and we'd have like a butter dish or whatever with like just softened butter in it, room temperature butter or whatever. And I would take a spoonful of that softened butter, and we had these little tiny bowls that were meant for like salsa, just these little, you go to like a restaurant, they give you those little tiny plastic bowls and they put like salsa in. We had some of those at my house, and I would put that spoonful of butter in there with cinnamon and sugar and like mix it up.
Okay.
And I would just eat it as a kid, which is probably why I grew up fat. But like I would just kind of eat this like cinnamon sugar butter, and it was just pretty good.
Yeah, hey, what can I say? I would do that. It's funny when you said like as kids you have like gross food eating habits. The only one I could think of, it's not even that gross, but when I'd eat SpaghettiOs, I would save all the meatballs to the end and then I'd stick all of them in my mouth at the same time. But that wasn't like gross so much as probably dangerous, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I lived, obviously.
Oh, dude, yeah, I did weird stuff when I was a kid. I used to just take like we'd have like leftover rice. We'd have like, leftover rice, and I'd like microwave it and then put like mayonnaise and ketchup in it and like just mix it around.
That's pretty gross.
it's dude. I was nasty. Like I would just do like weird stuff. Like I would take a slice of bread and put like peanut butter on it, and just like if we had whatever, if it was honey or like leftover chocolate chips or whatever, I would just like put it on the bread.
That sounds fine. I mean, not super healthy or anything. That's a few steps above rice with mayonnaise and ketchup or whatever you said.
I was like a rat. I was like a little rat when I was a kid. I would just like wake up hungry in the middle of the night and just start foraging around like a rat looking for food.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't need to get super into this, but whatever. This episode's going pretty quick. a relative of mine who definitely will never listen to this podcast. It doesn't matter. He's like, I don't know, a good 10 years younger than me, maybe probably more than that actually. He again, maybe I shouldn't tell this story because I don't know. As I gotten older, I worry about the implications of this. He would like his family would go to the grocery store and it was a family of 4. They'd buy a ton of food, and then like in the middle of the night, he'd sneak out and eat a lot of it. Now, what I've learned is that like that is the sign of like food neglect, like the parents aren't feeding them right. Kind of thing. I don't know if that's true or not, though. In this, I don't have reason to doubt I have reason to doubt that he was being starved or anything. One time, he was eating like dog cookies, like that they looked like Oreos, but they were for dogs, and he knew that they were for dogs. It wasn't a mistake. I think it was just like a matter of he thought he could get away with it because like they came in like a big container. And like, hey, no one's going to miss it if I eat some of these dog cookies, right? And the family member, his mom, she knew what was going on and figured out pretty quick. Like when half the dog treat container is gone in a couple of days, she knows it's going somewhere. Yeah. And she loudly staged a conversation with someone. I don't know who it was, probably a friend of hers, of like, yeah, I don't know where all these dog cookies are going. Like, if someone's eating them, I think they can go blind or something like that. and then he came out and was like, "Mom,
I have something I need to tell you."
But also, I think there is health issues. I think you could do damage to your liver or something from eating dog treats. I don't know. Hey, if this is from Bit Harmony, don't eat dog cookies. If you're eating dog cookies, stop that right now. Stop it.
Hey, did your parents ever tell you when I was a kid? My parents would tell me that like if I swallowed like a watermelon seed, that a watermelon would grow in my stomach. Yeah. They told you that too?
I don't remember if my parents told me that, but there's definitely an episode of Rugrats about that exact thing. So like that definitely was like a common one. Yeah.
Yeah, like my parents told me that. It terrified me, dude. Like absolutely like I made sure to gingerly remove every seed from the watermelon before I would eat it. My papa did this thing where I would catch him. He'd be up at like 2:00 in the morning, and he loved butter pecan ice cream, and I'd catch him at like 2:00 in the morning, just like shirtless eating butter pecan ice cream like right out of the freezer, and he would like always sit me down because he didn't want me to rat on him, like he didn't want me to tell my granny on him, and so he'd get me like a little bowl of it too, and it's a very fond memory I have with him, just like sharing butter pecan ice cream. But he would pick out the pecans from my ice cream and eat them, and I'd be like, you know, what? Why are you doing that? You know, and he's like, oh, they're flies. They're not pecans. They're little flies in your ice cream, and I'm saving you from eating the flies. It's just funny, like the little lies that like parents tell you when you're a kid.
That one's almost sinister to me. I know it's not sinister, but like, because as a kid, that would have grossed me out. Like, ew, there's flies that were in my ice cream, like that.
Yeah, like why? Like why are they doing that? I think I probably tugged the string a little bit, but eventually just kind of like laughed it off. And it's also kind of like, if that were true, like you're just watching your grandfather like eat flies, you know, in front of you. So yeah, that's a fond memory I have.
It's also funny, this is unrelated to butter building specifically, but like the other day I mentioned something to my wife about that there's like butter sculpting competitions in America, and she straight up didn't believe me. She's like, "You're making this up." I'm like, "No, like I'm not. They made a movie about it. Like I've seen it."
It's true. Yeah, that's American.
She was utterly disgusted. She was like, "Stop telling me about this. I don't want to imagine people like gingerly sculpting butter."
Yeah. Don't look at like Paula Deen's recipe for deep fried butter or anything like that. Don't tell her about that. Protect her from that.
Yeah. I try my best, but she'll find out eventually about the Paula Deen cookbook. I can't say this is the case anymore, but when it comes to Silent Seabed, back in 2005, this is probably my favorite version of Butter Building, favorite rearrangement or whatever of Butter Building. Okay. I mean, again, yeah, 20 years ago, I wasn't as well versed in both music and video games. I don't know. I find even now it's still really up there. Around like 32 seconds in, there's just like these little counter beats that come in. They're just real funky and good. I don't know. I really like how echoey the song is. I feel like a lot of the soundtrack is echoey, but like this one in particular, I noticed it. And I mean, again, makes sense. I guess it's called Silent Seabed. But yeah, those are my real only notes on the song. I think this is a fun version of Butter Building.
It's fun. I don't like it nearly as much as the original, but I like it. I'm unsure how I feel about. There's like a weird little like talk box mouth noise, like a little that going on. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm still not really sure. I kind of like how weird and dorky it is, and there's a couple of actually talk boxy like vocal samples in this soundtrack, and this is just one of them. But yeah, like then you have like. These like MIDI keys that come in around like 20 seconds. It's got like real like Nokia ringtone vibes.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe that is why I like it so much. I don't know.
Yeah. Got that kind of vibe to it. It's not bad, but yeah, that like I hold the original Butter Building just in such high regard, you know. But yeah, it's still good.
I really like the Smash Bros. Brawl version of Butter Building.
Me too.
Maybe that might be my favorite. But that's my Butter Building.
Yeah, this ain't your grandpa's Butter Building
with the almond flies in it. When it comes to Kirby Canvas Curse as a game, it's funny. I made these notes a few days ago and I hadn't gone over them, so it's funny looking at it now. I clearly really wanted to talk about the game's reception at the time because it's literally the very first thing I have written down here. So again. This was considered at the time, like, this was the DS game. It's not just like that this was, like, the best Kirby game. Like, no, this is, like, the DS's first killer app, back when that phrase was actually used. I don't remember when that fell out of vogue, but my memories were, I think Nintendogs came out the same summer as this. But right. It was like later. So like this really was like the first big thing, especially if you're like a gamer with a capital G, right? Like you don't want to be taking care of dogs. You want to be playing games. And like this was that game. To put it in perspective, I didn't know this until I looked it up. This Kirby Canvas Curse has an 86 on Metacritic, and that is 1 point higher than Forgotten Lands Metacritic score. Unrelated, but Planet Robobot only has an 81 on Metacritic, which that should be considered a war crime. That is egregious to me.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And yeah, as someone that has been playing Kirby games since Superstar on the Super Nintendo, it was kind of hard for me to deal with at the time that like all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, this is like the first amazing Kirby game. Like this really was treated like, okay, Kirby's finally grown up. Like this is the first real Kirby game that isn't for little babies. Like every outlet I remember reading and whatnot at the time, I think EGM was like, yeah, this is the real stuff right here, this touchscreen controlled Kirby. And again, I want to make clear, I really like Kirby Canvas Curse a lot. It was my favorite DS game at the time. It is very, very good, especially if you were growing up at the time. And this, like, you have to remember the DS was like the first gaming dedicated device that came with a touch screen. Like you obviously had like the Game.com or the Game.com or whatever, but that's like for solitaire and stuff. It wasn't. It was the DS was a full on Nintendo system with two screens and a touch screen, and it was neat to see like one of their beloved series making the transition over to fully touchscreen controlled. But also from my perspective, it was just like, yeah, this is good, but this isn't as good as like the best Kirby games that had come before it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I think my first real introduction to Kirby was I think I maybe played like a little bit of like the original or maybe a bit of Kirby's Adventure or something like that. But for the most part, Superstar was my first like big, kind of introduction to Kirby just in general. And yeah, like my kind of take playing Canvas Curse for the first time when it was new was like, yeah, this is cool and like good, and it felt, you know, big and it felt novel because again, like I was an early DS adopter and I just like I loved it so much. Like I loved that whole the touchscreen gimmick. It was so cool and so novel. And again, like WarioWare Touched and Yoshi Touch and Go came out like these three games came out like within months of each other. You had like major Nintendo franchises that were kind of retooled for DS, you know. And none of them, I don't think WarioWare Touched or Yoshi Touch and Go were as successful as Kirby Canvas Curse at doing either of those things. But like at the same time, like it's also the kind of thing where when I played it, I did not think to myself, like, you know, like this is the future of Kirby. Like I never want to play another Kirby game unless it's like this. Like I just looked at it kind of the same way I do today, is just like, yeah, this was like a neat little spin-off that is probably more well considered than you would assume it is, and is probably a little bit deeper than you would assume it is, and is just like a well done version of this idea. But I don't, you know, but I don't think I ever had any like sort of delusions of it, I guess, being bigger or more important than it is either, you know?
I mean, we have a whole section. In fact, our next section is dedicated to this, but like this did get a direct sequel, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. And like, again, we'll talk about it more in depth, at least a little bit more in depth. But like the fact that this spin-off Kirby game got its own direct sequel, albeit like a decade later, yeah, like that should tell you just like this was a fan favorite game at the time, Canvas Curse. I will specifically call out, I remember when Squeak Squad came out a couple of years after this, maybe even a year after this, which I consider one of the best side-scrolling Kirby games. Like, it's probably the best one that isn't like a modern Kirby game, honestly.
Sure.
And all the reviews I saw at the time were like, yeah, this is fine, but like, why didn't they should have made another Canvas Curse. Like, and that it's not an exaggeration. Like every review I read at the time, which maybe there was only like a handful of them that I read, but like they all were like disappointed that this wasn't a direct sequel to Canvas Curse. And to me, again, as a lifelong Kirby nut, I was like, this kind of sucks. Like now, like Kirby's kind of weighed down by the weight of like this touchscreen only game that came out as like almost like a proof of concept for the DS at the time. I'm glad you bring up Yoshi Touch and Go because I bought that day one as well. I loved it, but yeah, that's like an arcadey, like there's only really two modes of play in that game.
Very simple.
Yeah, super simple, but it has a similar concept of like drawing a path for Yoshi. It's funny because like that was a full price game back then, whereas like nowadays that'd be like $10 on the eShop kind of thing.
Right.
But Kirby Canvas Curse, again, took a very similar idea, came out like you said, a few months after Yoshi Touch and Go, but it is like a full-fledged game. Now, it's not super long. You could probably beat the whole thing in like 4 hours. But yeah, it is a full-on game with like probably like 24 levels or something like that. A lot of cool unlockables. But yeah, it made me sad at the time is what I'm trying to emphasize, is that like, again, I think Kirby Canvas Curse is a really good game on its own, but like a bunch of like these like, I don't know, like Nintendo fans that only care about like Mario and Zelda, which is like my least favorite kind of Nintendo fan. They just are like, oh yeah, this is cool. I was like, all right. Like again, it is cool. Don't get me wrong. It's great. But I guess that's kind of all I really wanted to say about the reception of the game, really. Other than you also have to remember too that this is the early days of the DS. Like the PSP had just come out in America a couple months ago. So like the DS was this like weird dedicated little device that like people kind of thought was going to fail because they just kept making unfavorable comparisons to the PSP. Even Nintendo was kind of positioning the DS as like this weird third pillar, as they called it, of like, no, we're going to support the GameCube, the Game Boy Advance, and the DS. And then that obviously ended up not being true. So for Kirby Canvas Curse to be like the first must-have game on the DS, it was cool in that way of like, oh yeah, people are buying a DS for a Kirby game as opposed to a Mario game. Like that was neat and whatever. But yeah, it brought like a lot of new fans. I guess I'm going to be gatekeepy here and just say that any Kirby Canvas Curse like Gen 1ers out there, like just stay out of my Kirby. I don't want to hear your opinion about Return to Dreamland.
Do you think that this is kind of like that Robobot? Because to your point, like the fact that Robobot has an 81 on Metacritic is crazy. And I'm not saying that, that like the difference between an 81 and an 86, but like I feel like Robobot is a far superior game. And like did not have that same splash. And I wonder if it's because Robobot sort of almost bookended this like kind of, that started with like Nightmare in Dreamland or Return to Dreamland rather. And then Triple Deluxe, and then that, like maybe that kind of style was getting a bit long in the tooth, whereas this was like a reinvention on a new, platform and everything. Like, I wonder if that newness, that novelty is what really kind of like propelled this, but hurt something like Robobot,
Yeah, I bet that's part of it. And again, like Kirby Canvas Curse, it is innovating more than Planet Robobot did.
Sure.
And again, like I said, this was like the first fully touchscreen controlled game from Nintendo that like wasn't a mini game collection, right? Like you said, WarioWare Touch and Yoshi Touch and Go. So like I get it. I get why Kirby Canvas Curse was so well received at the time. It was one of those things to me of like, it seemed obvious that like this is like a first 6 months of the DS's lifespan game. Like, hey, we're proving the concept of a touchscreen, and then the next Kirby game we're gonna make a more traditional one with some touchscreen elements. So just let me have that. I don't like it when like the outlier game that gets like positioned as like, hey, they should make all the games like this. I think of stuff like again, another Kirby game, Kirby's Epic Yarn. I also consider a spin-off Kirby game, but like there are a lot of people out there that are like, oh yeah, this is the best Kirby game. I'm like, no, it's not. It's a really cool and cute and fun spin-off game, but what I remember at the time with Kirby's Epic Yarn, and again, I loved it at the time, and I still do, but my main thought when playing it was like, oh, this would be a better Yoshi game than a Kirby game. And then Goodfeel went on to make a Yoshi game directly after. So, yeah, I don't know. Well, and like I said, I have notes when we get to like the Kirby spin-off section about like Epic Yarn and stuff, and basically things I want to complain about with how Kirby is perceived by a wider audience. But I did want to note that Kirby Canvas Curse, like some other gameplay elements we didn't talk about before, you're like, yeah, it's fully touchscreen controlled, but it still did bring a lot of elements of traditional Kirby in that you might not expect, such as the copy ability powers. So like there's not as many as in a traditional Kirby game, but like if you kill a fire enemy, you get the burning power, and if you touch Kirby, instead of doing like a spin, he turns into a fireball and shoots forward. There's a tornado ability that functions similarly to how the tornado ability does in mainline Kirby games. I don't know how many are in here. I know there's also like crash and missile or torpedo, and there's beam and electric. That might be all of them actually, but it's cool that they brought that in, because again, something like Kirby's Epic Yarn or even Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, they didn't bring those in. Like to me, that is like the definition of a Kirby game. Like even as a spin-off, I feel like you should have the copy abilities to some degree is my opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't really like. I mean, I don't know. Like you're a much bigger Kirby fan than I am, so I feel like I kind of just go along for the ride, like with whatever Kirby does. And I mean, yeah, I think people who think Epic Yarn is the best Kirby game are crazy. Like that's insane. But yeah, I'm kind of just down for whatever Kirby wants to throw at me with these spin-offs. And I think that, and I know we have a section dedicated to this coming up too, but I think that Kirby is probably, with the exception of maybe Dragon Quest, like Kirby is like the series that I think has the most like consistently good spin-offs. And I don't know, I really like that about Kirby, and I'm kind of thankful that Kirby is kind of allowed to do some weird stuff, despite the fact that it's a series that has whatever 35 years of history or whatever. So like, yeah, if we want to do one that doesn't have proper copy abilities, that's okay, I'm good with that. Fair enough.
To be clear, yeah, I'm having a goof. I love Kirby Canvas Curse. I love Kirby's Epic Yarn. But yeah, in my mind, yeah, they don't always bring things over that I would like. I mean, again,
Right.
when it comes to Kirby Canvas Curse, I think it did. It did bring basically, put it this way, I would consider Kirby Canvas Curse more of a mainline Kirby game than Epic Yarn. I guess I'll just say that and leave it at that maybe.
Sure.
Were there any other things you wanted to note about like the actual gameplay? Like there's, if this seems like a weird short section where we're just complaining about like critics and stuff, it's just because like there's not that much to talk about from it as a gameplay or from a gameplay perspective. It's just, it's fully touchscreen controlled. You're making paths for Kirby. You're tapping Kirby. You're tapping things. Yeah, I don't know. Was there anything else you wanted to note?
I mean, just I do one thing that was kind of fun going back to the game. I do like the boss fights in this, and I particularly I do like the, you know, like this game's version of like the gourmet race against DDD and stuff. Like I don't know. I think that stuff is fun. I think it's kind of nice, like those little shakeups to the core gameplay, you know, to have those in there. I think, yeah, I don't know. I like the game. Like it was, you know, it's fun to go back and revisit, and it's the kind of thing where I kind of hope that whenever we get Switch 2 or whatever, like I've long wanted them to figure out some kind of dual screen solution for the Switch.
Dude. Yeah,
something.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, just something. And I mean, for me, like I feel like what they could do is just utilize your phone as a second screen and make use of that otherwise useless Nintendo Switch app, you know, and just do that. And it'd be cool. Like you could sell like a mount to clip it onto the top of your Switch or whatever, or the bottom of your Switch or whatever you wanted to do. And then you could have DS games or games that are like DS games, you know, on your Switch. And I think it'd be really cool. But who am I?
I swear I remember like in 2017 or maybe even late 2016 that Nintendo was talking about the idea of like multiple Switches connecting to one docked Switch and being able to play stuff like Nintendo Land that way.
Right.
Like, why didn't that ever come to fruition? Yeah, I would love something like that. And yeah, something as simple as like just connecting a phone or a tablet to your Switch and being able to play DS or Wii U stuff like that. Yeah, that would be fantastic. When it comes to any other gameplay things, I will say I wanted to mention the game has I forget what it's called, like Medal Run or something. Like when you beat a whole world, you unlock like challenge versions of each level. So there's like,
oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and some of them are actually genuinely hard.
Yeah.
Like there's speedrun levels, and then there's also get to the goal using the least amount of paint as possible. And they give you a limited amount, so you can't use that much paint regardless. Yeah, some of the later ones I didn't even reach that far while playing it for this episode. I probably made it like a little over halfway through the game, but I didn't get to like the real late game crazy stuff. I remember those getting like extremely hard. And then the medals that you unlock there, you can also buy like more health pips, different patterns for your rainbow brush lines. You have like zebra pattern brush instead of rainbow pattern stuff. The coolest thing once you beat the game is you can unlock other characters to play as. I think the first one you unlock to play as, it's either Waddle Dee or King Dedede. And like the different characters genuinely have pretty different properties. Like King Dedede has like double the amount of health, like I think 7 health as compared to 4 by default, but he's also super big, and it's like genuinely hard to get him through some spots. It's genuinely funny.
Yeah, I love Dedede's design in this game just in general, especially like the sort of ball form Dedede, and it made me so mad that when we got to Kirby's Dream Buffet, like, dude, I got to the max rank in that game. Like I grinded my way. I 100%ed Kirby's Dream Buffet. And I did that because I was hoping in my heart of hearts that Dedede was somehow playable in that game. That they would, you know, and there is like a Dedede like hat you can wear or whatever, but I was hoping that, for those who don't know, King Dedede is my favorite Nintendo character, straight up. And I was hoping that there would be like, you know, some kind of reference to sort of ball D to D, you know, and there is not. I can vouch. You don't have to spend like 30 hours with that game like I did.
But you can, because it's a pretty great little $10 Kirby thing. We will definitely talk about that when we get to the general Kirby spin-off section. But for right now, let's go on a break. We're gonna play you from Kirby's Dreamland, Bubbly Clouds, and then the Kirby Canvas Curse remix, Tiny Town. And we'll be right back. And that was, once again, Bubbly Clouds from Kirby's Dream Land, the original Kirby game, and Tiny Town from Kirby Canvas Curse. Right out the gate, I'll just say, like, I basically have no notes on Bubbly Clouds. It's just, that is my favorite area from Kirby's Dream Land. I like cloudy areas in video games in general, but Kirby is just it's so light and floaty and puffy or whatever. It's kind of the perfect song to have the title Bubbly Clouds, really. I also just think Krako is a very underrated boss. I like Krako more than Wispy Woods, but Wispy Woods always gets all the accolades. Where's Krako's medal? Where's Krako Jr.'s trophy? Come on. When it comes to Tiny Town, this seemed like a fan favorite off of the Kirby Canvas Curse soundtrack from what I was seeing. And I do think, objectively, I think this probably is maybe the best song on the soundtrack. It's at least the most interesting to me from like a remix or rearrangement perspective. Felt like the one where like they did the most to differentiate it from the original while still sounding like the original.
Yeah. This is my favorite song out of the ones that we've selected, Tiny Town, for this episode. This one, for a bunch of reasons, and I don't have a lot of notes on these. One thing that I really like about Bubbly Clouds in particular, I like any song where the bass line is like almost a competing melody. Like it's almost like they wrote two songs. Like if you go into Bubbly Clouds, you can almost choose like which melody to listen to the song with. If you just focus on the bass, it's like its own little song, you know, like it's a completely different, it's a very non-traditional bass line that feels like a competing melody with the core melody. And I love that about the song. And that is not as prevalent in Tiny Town. Tiny Town instead has this, again, like glitchy kind of aesthetic, but a very like ethereal, you know, sort of, like wispy kind of aesthetic along with it that reminds me a lot of Nurture, which is my favorite album of all time, Porter Robinson's Nurture. That album has a lot of like just sort of like blissed out, glitchy, but like very serene, like Japanese piano inspired stuff. Like it's like Studio Ghibli, if Studio Ghibli was also like glitchy and industrial, and like Tiny Town reminds me a lot of that. It's very like Porter Robinson Nurture coded. I love like there's a synth lead that kind of comes in at 1 minute and 12 seconds, and it really builds this little like acoustic, you know, like MIDI acoustic passage, and then it kind of just glitches out again after that. And I don't know, I really loved this song. This was my favorite one out of the Canvas Curse songs that we selected.
Yeah, I think this is like the song I think of, even though I hadn't played the game in like well over 15 years. Like this is the song that I was thinking of like when we were talking about making this episode. I also just say that like around 126 when the flutes and stuff kind of come in, it kind of reminds me of a Katamari song, but then that made me think about how many games about like rolling balls around were coming out back in the early and mid 2000s. But yeah, I think that's really, you kind of took all the notes, other remaining notes I had for that song. Yeah, this probably is the standout song on the soundtrack to me.
Yeah, really good. I was really impressed with that one.
For this section, this will probably be a shorter section. I just felt we should probably talk about Kirby and the Rainbow Curse a little bit, since it is the direct sequel to this. I don't have as much experience with it. I mean, I did buy it day one and I beat it, but I don't remember much about it, and I don't really have much desire to go back to it, really.
Yeah.
So this was a 2015 release for the Wii U. I guess I should note it's Kirby and the Rainbow Paintbrush in EU and Australia. This was revealed at E3 2014, and it was explicitly billed as like, this is the direct follow-up to Canvas Curse. Most notable thing about it, besides the fact that it's a direct sequel to Canvas Curse, is that it has a very, very, very good art style. Everything is claymation. To me, Rainbow Curse just kind of sucked, if I'm being honest. At least as a game. Again, the art style is like one of the best looking Nintendo games ever made. I will also say the soundtrack absolutely rules, and we will play some Rainbow Curse music on this upcoming break. But like, this was like kind of during Nintendo's lowest point for me, like the Wii U era. Not that there weren't cool games coming out on the Wii U. I'm not trying to say that. I think I jokingly said last episode I like the Wii U is the best system ever made. There's plenty of awesome first party games on the Wii U. However, there's also a lot of pandering going on the Wii U, and to me, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse was the most pandering because it just really felt like Nintendo was in panic mode, especially around 2014, 2015, 2016. And they were just kind of looking for like smaller things they could like get out there quicker. Like obviously Rainbow Curse didn't take 6 years to develop in the way that like Breath of the Wild did, right? So it's like, hey, people really love that Canvas Curse game and we never made a direct sequel to it. Let's fulfill that fan thing, that fan wish, and make the fans happy while also getting like a recognizable IP out there. We'll give it a nice art style. Again, I'm not trying to say that like the game was completely cynically made. Again, there is a lot of love in this game. Again, the visuals and the soundtrack amazing. There's also like trophies that you can collect, kind of like Smash Bros. And like I remember the writing being really, really good there, like way above like normal Kirby like writing standards. But yeah, the problem for me is that they took out everything that made Canvas Curse good. Like it's not as fast paced. Like when you
it's not.
Like when you tap Kirby, it doesn't feel like there's like momentum going on. It doesn't feel good to play in the way that Canvas Curse does. It, like I mentioned before, it doesn't have copy abilities. It felt like it was taking from Epic Yarn, which again was like the most recent Kirby game at the time. Basically, I guess Return to Dreamland came out after that. But anyway, like the claymation style was already kind of like, hey, let's do a craft aesthetic, and then the power-ups in this were kind of like machines, like Kirby could turn into a tank and stuff like that. And that's fine, but it also just like, it just felt like very by the numbers without understanding what people liked about Canvas Curse. At least that's how I took it at the time.
Yeah, I was really mad at this game when I played it. So I got this game at midnight. This game came out, I remember, the same night as the Order 1886, of all things.
I do like this game more than Order 1886. I'll say that.
Yeah, I'll say that too. This game came out the same night, and GameStop was having a midnight launch for the Order 1886, and I was there to pick up my copy of Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. And it's funny that was kind of like a recurring thing. Like they would have, you know, whatever, a midnight launch for some other game, but I would be there to pick up like the one copy of, you know, whatever weird Nintendo game. Like, you know, everybody's buying whatever Red Dead Redemption and I'm buying like No More Heroes 2, you know, that sort of thing. So that was kind of a running joke at GameStop. But I remember getting that home at midnight, and my wife came with me to the midnight launch, and she was just playing like Spelunky on the Vita or something like that the whole time. But I remember getting it home that night and playing it, and I ended up 100%ing that game. But it took like years off of my life. Like I was so mad like playing that game. Like my wife was like, I don't like the way you're acting when you play this game. She like I was getting so mad, like just so incredibly frustrated. And I think mostly from what I remember, just like some of the placements of like the collectibles and just some of the level design, coupled with like how bad the movement feels in that game compared to Canvas Curse. Because like you can still do little things like tap Kirby and like try to get a little extra speed, but it just doesn't feel right. Like, and I don't know if that's because of animation. I don't know if that's because they tried to like maybe casualize it a little bit for the Wii U audience or whatever, but like it didn't feel right, and I found myself getting really, really angry with the game in a way that I rarely do. I'm a pretty patient person, but there are just certain games that get me angry like no other, and I was genuinely very angry playing through this game.
Yeah, I mean, I also consider myself pretty calm, especially playing video games. I've played so many video games.
Yeah.
Like, what can you really do to like upset me at this point? It's funny, like you and I talk about Splatoon being like very, very upsetting frequently, and again with Splatoon, the gameplay feels amazing. So I'm assuming it's just because like I'm being killed by 12-year-olds online is what I'm assuming where the anger is coming from. Also, like Inklings are just little jerks. They just look like just little little. I just want to like punch them, kind of thing. I mean, my Inkling is very cute, but everyone else's Inkling is horrible. But I don't remember. I definitely did not 100% this game. I remember making a conscious decision. Like I 100% like a lot of Nintendo games. It's pretty rare that I don't, at least of like the mainline bigger Nintendo releases, because normally I just want to have a reason to keep playing them. But I remember there's some like lightning level, like it was later in the game, and like
I remember it.
Like lightning is coming down every so often or whatever. And I think I was like, okay, I'm not even going to think about 100% of this. Like I this is 2015. Like I owned a PS4. I'm like, I could just go play Bloodborne again instead of 100%.
Better decision. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I liked it enough to finish the game. I appreciated the aesthetic. The soundtrack is really, really good. We'll get into it in a little bit. But yeah, I just, like you said, it just felt bad to play compared to Canvas Curse. Canvas Curse it almost feels like you're playing with like a toy in a way of like, Kirby kind of feels like a little out of control, but it's like in a fake way because he's still fully controllable. Whereas like Kirby here just feels so unresponsive and heavy in a weird way. I will also note that this had a really weird co-op mode. Was it up to 4 players or was it just 2? I think it was 4 because there's like multiple.
It might have been.
So whoever is not playing Kirby plays Bandana Waddle Dee or Spear Waddle Dee or Spear D, whatever you want to call him. He's my favorite Kirby character, but whoever is playing as Waddle Dee just gets to walk around. Like
just plays a Kirby game.
He's not, yeah. It's like, so whoever is stuck as Kirby just has to like control this weird moving ball around. And then whoever is playing Waddle Dee is just having a much better time because you get to walk around and stab things with your spear. I remember, speaking of Boogs earlier in the episode, the Wii U was actually his first Nintendo console ever, which is, yeah, we joke about it all the time about like what a time to like try and get into Nintendo stuff. And he bought this, or maybe I brought it over to his house. I'm guessing he bought this though. I don't remember, and we tried out the multiplayer. I'm like, oh, I think I like playing this a lot more when I get to be Spear Waddle Dee. And he was just like, I don't know what's going on. I'm trying in vain to control this uncontrollable heavy Kirby ball, and it's just not working too well.
Yeah. Wow. Getting into Nintendo at the Wii U is wild.
Yeah.
God bless him.
When he went to go buy his Wii U, I wasn't with him, but he told the GameStop employee, like, yeah, I want a Wii U. And they're like, yeah, okay, do you want the Wind Waker Wii U or the one with Nintendo Land? He said Nintendo Land because he doesn't care about Zelda for the most part. He played Tears of the Kingdom a decent chunk and liked it, but at the time, he'd never played a Zelda at all, and he just didn't care. He was wanting the Wii U as like a party game thing. So yeah, give me Nintendo Land. I want to play this with my family. And apparently the employees were giving him a lot of guff about choosing the Nintendo Land Wii U console.
I hate that so much, dude.
Have I ever told you, this is around the same time period actually, when WarioWare Touch came out, the DS WarioWare that came out a few months before Canvas Curse, my mom went to go buy it for me like while I was at school. And then she picked me up. She's like, I'm never going back into GameStop again. Like in the future, I'll just drop you off and go. And they're like, why? What happened? And she was like, they were telling me that how bad of a mother I am because I bought you a DS and not a PSP. Like,
that's I do remember this because I think you on the episode of Critical Diversions, the WarioWare episode, I think you shared that story. But yeah, it's crazy. Like when I hate it. I mean, I worked with GameStop for many years, and like nothing drove me crazier than seeing people like push their own like tastes and like agendas on people. Like I hate that, dude.
Right. Ugh. Especially parents. Like if you're going to do it, like if you want to argue with another nerd, I guess go for it, but also don't do that. But like a mom coming through, like, yeah, save her from buying her kid like Grand Theft Auto or whatever. But like,
sure,
don't like if she's coming in to buy Kirby Canvas Curse, like a big first party Nintendo release, then her kid probably like asked for it. You know, like what are you doing?
Ugh, I hate that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. Did you have any other notes on Kirby and the Rainbow Curse?
No, I mean other than the soundtrack, but I guess we'll get to that.
Yeah, we can go on a break. I guess. Oh, I will note. My wife won like a Twitter art competition.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That Nintendo of Europe put on as promotion for this game. She did like a needle felt Kirby like sitting on the ground. It's hanging up in the hallway. I can't quite see it from here, but it's over there. Yeah, she won a copy of the game, which some might say is the true Rainbow Curse, but I don't know. She was happy to win.
That was cool, and she did such a good job. Like, what a cool piece of art that she did. She deserved to win.
I think also from her perspective and my perspective too, that just kind of made the fact that the game wasn't as good as Canvas Curse kind of sting even more. Because like, oh, like yeah, I won this art competition and I won a copy of the game, and that's all super cool, but oh, like the game isn't that good. Kind of thing.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But yeah, anyway, that was Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. You know what? If that was available to play on something that isn't a Wii U, I would still probably have replayed it for this episode. But again, not hooking my wife's Wii U up for just that. But anyway, we're going to play you 2 songs off of the Rainbow Curse soundtrack. We're going to play Great Cave Escape and Rest Area, and we'll be right back. once again, Great Cave Escape and Rest Area, both from Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, not Kirby Canvas Curse. What were your notes on these two songs?
So these are the ones I was making most of my notes last night, but I had a late night. I was editing the Nintendo Drive and stuff, and I was up pretty late already, and so I ended up like nodding off, and I was like, I'll save the rest of these for the morning before we record. And so my first note is, this is so serene, I instantly yawned, and not just because it's 6:30 a.m. And then I said 0.30, like 30-second mark. Oh wait, no, it's funky.
Yeah, and then the funk starts. Yeah,
yeah. I love like this. Really, listening to this, I was like, oh wow, like I really need to go back and like listen to this whole soundtrack again, because these two like really kind of slapped me in the face today and like made me realize like, oh wait, like yeah, the soundtrack to this was really good.
Yeah.
Like that like the main melody on that wind flute for Great Cave Escape, the warbly synth in the background gives you that little like spy thriller vibe to it. We, you gotta, of course, we have horns, minute and 4 seconds. We've got horns. There's a bass walk at 119 that's just like super funky. Key slides. It's just like 60s funk, like spy intrigue song.
Right. Again, yeah, like you said, it starts off so like peaceful and like it doesn't sound like that different from like any other Kirby song, and then yeah, it just it just goes into something else entirely. Yeah, I think this plays in like the second stage of the game. It plays very early. I also just like with how kind of like funky and also like even kind of dirty it is. It despite still being very playful, it kind of really fits the claymation aesthetic. Like it feels like you're playing with clay in audio form. Great Cave Escape, easily my favorite song on the album or the soundtrack. I haven't gone back and listened to the whole thing since it came out either, but this is what I remember liking the most. When it comes to Rest Area, so for one, this is a remix of a Kirby Superstar song. This song gets reused throughout like a lot of Kirby games, even Smash Bros. Right. The All-Star Rest Area is this song, or a version of the song. As much as I love the Melee version of Rest Area, I think this is actually maybe my favorite version of Rest Area. There's like, I don't even know what to call them, but like, it might not even be vocals, but in my notes, I'm like, are these vocals that come in around 24? They're almost like imperceptible. Like you really have to be listening with headphones, but there's like these echoey, like just little like, I don't know what they are. Again, at first I thought they were like female, like cooing noises or something, but yeah, they might just be echoey things. Either way, just really loved it. Just really loved both of these songs. Just really great stuff. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse.
Yeah, Rest Area, the only real notes I have about it is I do really like the drum sounds. Like there's like some little like drum machine sounds that, and it's kind of those kind of muted percussive sounds that it's like a couple steps removed from like a lo-fi playlist or something. You know, like you could totally see like a lo-fi version of this being very easy. Like you don't have to do that much to it. You know, it's great. Yeah, this is probably my favorite version of Rest Area also.
Yeah, just really, really good all around. And yeah, it's funny, whenever we do an episode, like when we did the Monkey Ball episode, I was playing a ton of Banana Mania after the episode. And it's funny, when I was waiting for you to say you were ready to record the remixes episode, I just randomly was like, I'm in a Kirby mood. And I started playing Kirby Return to Dreamland. I played like 3 levels while waiting for you. And then that was kind of like the main impetus of like, we could do Kirby Canvas Curse for the next episode. Yeah, it's funny how much listening to these soundtracks puts me in the mood to play the games they're from again. Again, no real desire to play Rainbow Curse specifically, but like I am in a very big Kirby mood right now. And yeah, even today waiting for you, I was playing Kirby's Adventure. Made it through like the first 2 worlds, actually. Forgot how breezy that game is.
It's a breezy game, yeah.
When you know it, when you've played it a billion times, you can carve through that thing. For our last section before we get to the YouTube comments, I just want to talk about like Kirby spin-offs. We touched on it a little bit. Seth said that besides like Dragon Quest, Kirby is kind of like the king of spin-offs. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like Dragon Quest and Kirby and Mario, those are probably like the best spin-off games ever. But I do think Kirby and Dragon Quest have like higher like consistent quality than the Mario spin-offs generally. again, my first notes here were that like the internet considers Canvas Curse and Rainbow Curse to be mainline Kirby games. That's insane to me. Also, Epic Yarn and even Mass Attack. Like, how is Mass Attack a mainline Kirby game?
Yeah, that's insane.
Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. Again, love Mass Attack. Absolutely love Mass Attack. But I think in my head, I'm just kind of... It's like people like these games so much that like they're elevating them to like, well, these have to be mainline games. It's like, no. They can be spin-offs and also be incredible. It's fine. Like, just stop. Anyway, we don't need to go over every single one of these, but I have a list brought up in our shared notes about every major Kirby spin-off game. Do you have any standout ones you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I was a big fan of Dream Course back in the day. I think I mentioned him maybe on the show before, but my friend Brandon, when I was growing up, we were living with him and his family for a little while when we were kids after my parents got divorced, and he had a Super Nintendo. That was who introduced me to like Donkey Kong Country, and yeah, like I have really fond memories. He and I played like a ton of Dream Course. I really have a deep fondness and nostalgia for that game. And then for some reason, like I like Kirby's Avalanche probably more than is warranted. Like I don't know, like I just kind of like that game, even though it's a really simple, just sort of like Puyo Puyo, you know, sort of thing. Like I have that game physically for some reason, like a complete in box, like pristine copy of Kirby's Avalanche for no reason at all. I just I love the box art. Like I like looking at it, you know. I don't know.
The box art is cool, and also that has voice acting. Like the voices are good. It is insane. It didn't like Ken Lobb, I think, do a lot of the voices. It's weird. That game is very weird. Kirby's also his characterization, despite the fact that it's a puzzle game, like a falling block puzzle game, it is literally just Puyo Puyo, but with Kirby stuff. Kirby is characterized as like a massive jerk in that game. Yeah. Like Wispy Woods, he's like, hey, can you please not step on my roots? And then Kirby specifically steps on his roots. Like it's very weird.
Yeah, it's a weird game.
It's a very, very weird game. It's weird that it exists. Quick note about Kirby's Dream Course. We didn't talk about it, but it's basically like a mini golf game, but with Kirby stuff. So you can get power-ups or copy abilities, just like a mainline Kirby game. I think it's gun to my head, that probably is the best Kirby spin-off game. At least to me, it's like the most creative. It makes the best use out of like the Kirby aesthetic and everything. But yeah, I'm with you. Kirby Dream Course is fantastic. I don't think I even played it until the Wii Virtual Console, and I fell absolutely in love with it when I did. Other Kirby games for me, Mass Attack is right up there. That's like a top.
I love Mass Attack.
Mass Attack is like way better than Canvas Curse. And again, I like Canvas Curse a lot, but like Mass Attack is like side-scrolling, like arcadey Pikmin, but with Kirby's. So again, I think fully touchscreen controlled. It's been a while since I played it, but you're just tossing Kirby's at stuff. Toss Kirby's at all your problems, and that you just get through basically. But like, you're digging giant vegetables out of the ground with all your Kirby's. You're defeating enemies that way. It literally is like a side-scrolling Pikmin game, but with Kirby, and it's very good. The sprite work is great. The soundtrack is fantastic. If you honestly, for me, it probably is Dream Course and Mass Attack. Those are like the two best Kirby spin-off games. You did mention it earlier, Kirby's Dream Buffet on the Switch, which is like a little $10, I think $10, like a little racing game that you can play online with up to 4 players. You're just rolling a big Kirby around and you're eating food to get bigger, and the bigger you get, like the more momentum you have. It's basically like an obstacle course thing, but there's also other mini games of like see who can eat the most on like this kind of battle stage, knocking people off, that kind of thing. It's like a very small, people compared it to Fall Guys at the time. Like, yeah, I get it. I wouldn't exactly compare it to Fall Guys, but it is definitely in that same vein. Also, speaking of getting mad at things, I've never told you this, but when Kirby's Dream Buffet was new and you and I were playing a bunch, there was one specific race where you came out of nowhere and my wife was also playing with us, I think. If she wasn't, she's in the same room. I genuinely yelled, like a real angry yell. Like it was like a deep guttural, like no, like. My wife was genuinely like, she was near tears because like how startled she was by like how loud I got. And I felt bad. I still feel bad about it years later. But she's like, you don't need to be, it's fine, you don't need to be that loud. I'm like, I do. Like I was genuinely mad. I'm like, no, like you don't understand. This is complete garbage. And like I kind of like yelled at her on accident. I wasn't yelling at her, but just my voice was still elevated. And she was. It's the only time I think I've been the cause of my wife being in tears in any form, and I still feel bad about it to this day. It's not that serious.
You flew off the handle.
Yeah, I flew off the handle.
Lost control
because of Kirby's Dream Buffet.
I remember exactly the instance you're talking about. I remember I felt bad because I did not deserve that win. I remember like feeling bad about it, and I think we weren't over voice. I think we were just like texting in the Discord or something.
Probably, yeah.
And I do remember being like, I did not deserve that.
I think I might have just sent like ... back or something, because I was dealing with like a wife whose spirit was broken and lost all faith.
That is a genuinely good game. The problem is, and I think the reason I want is like the servers for that game were, and I assume are, so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was laggy to the point of sometimes being unplayable.
Yeah.
Like 3 frames per second, you know, and it would also be inconsistent. Like if you were lagging, maybe the other person wouldn't, and it would make it. And I get it, because the game is supposed to just be like a fun party game, like everything's made up and the points don't matter sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's also very frustrating when you're doing well or whatever, and then you get like a lag spike, and then somebody gets ahead of you when they didn't deserve to, or you fall, or like something happens because of lag that's outside of your control, you know, like that sucks. But,
yeah, I mean, it's very, very Mario Karty or Mario Party also, of just like, you're meant to just like have fun with it. It's not meant to be super serious, but like, there are just some games where, like, when you're not playing together or over voice chat or whatever, like everything becomes much more serious and much more like sinister. Of like I was like, what did Seth do? Like what did he do? Like what?
This little weasel, how did he pull this off?
Yeah, weasel is putting it lightly. I don't think I was swearing your name or anything like that, but it was
sure.
I was genuinely mad, and I think that was like, again, my wife's reaction. I'm like, okay, I'll stop. I'm going to stop taking this super seriously and just have more fun with it.
The funniest thing about that, though, is like when you win in Kirby's Dream Buffet, like you have to like move the stick around and eat that big cake at the end.
Yeah.
So like it really gives you a few seconds to like think about your win.
Also, when you're the person that gets knocked out of the way at the very last second, and then you're eating a lower tier of the cake, it also gives you a lot to think about.
It sucks. There's nothing that feels worse than that. There's nothing that feels better when you like earn it deservedly, but also nothing that feels worse. And it really sucks when you get to the end at the same time as like a few people, and you're having to like, oh, I guess I'm not getting that cake. Let me roll over here, and then someone gets to that cake before you do.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Then, like, oh, it's the worst. It's a really good game. Like ultimately, I just if they fix the servers, you know, and maybe like, you know, added some more stuff to it, like I would happily play a follow up to it.
Yeah, I'd love it if they released like a fuller, like a $20 version or something that had like double the amount of stuff. I would love to play more Kirby's Dream Buffet. We haven't had like a new Kirby like eShop game since Kirby's Dream Buffet. It's kind of weird. Because that was over 2 years ago at this point. They used to pump those things out all the time. Real quick, I just want to mention Super Kirby Clash, which was a free-to-play Switch game back in 2019. It's kind of like an even more arcadey, side-scrolling Monster Hunter from the perspective of like you're just grouping up with other people and trying to kill stuff as fast as you can. And by stuff, I mean like these big bosses. It was originally a mode. I think that was Kirby Triple Deluxe. It was a mode in. It was either Triple Deluxe or Robobot. And again, this was a free-to-play Switch game. You wouldn't think too much of it, my wife and I put like well over 100 hours into it. We were so into Super Kirby Clash. It was so much fun. Like I remember I would get home from work and she would still be up at, in German time. It's pretty late. I'm like, hey, you want to get on Super Kirby Clash? Like, yeah. Like it was like that old EverQuest for PS2 commercial. Like, it's time to slay the dragon. Like it's time to get on Super Kirby Clash and do some time mage stuff. Yeah, honestly, I sunk more hours into Super Kirby Clash than like almost any other online Switch game besides like Splatoon. And a cool thing about it, you didn't really need to spend any money at all. I think I gave them like 10 or 15 bucks just because I'm like, this is totally worth it. Like I want to give them money. I think my wife didn't spend any money on it at all, and we didn't 100% it, but we came pretty close. Like it was just a great time. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a billion Kirby games, but a few of these spin-offs are really, really magical and completely standalone. Like, you don't need any prior love of Kirby or whatever. I mean, I think you're an awful person if you don't have love for Kirby, but like, hey, you could still play Kirby Dream Course and Kirby Mass Attack. It's fine.
I would love a follow-up to Dream Course as well.
Yeah.
Like if I could pick any of these to have like an actual like proper follow-up, I would love a new take on Kirby Dream Course. But also, I mentioned it briefly and I won't spend too much time on it, but I like Kirby Air Ride. Like I think Air Ride is wildly overrated. But I like Kirby Air Ride City Trial. I've long maintained that like they could just take City Trial and like release that as its own little like NSO, like similar to an F-Zero 99 sort of thing, just with City Trial itself was such a cool, like unique idea. My friends and I played a lot of that, and I would love to have some kind of like new way to play Kirby Air Ride City Trial specifically.
Well, and that structure of City Trial, that was basically the Smash 4 3DS like exclusive mode. I forget what it was called, but yeah, you just run around and you get power-ups, and at the end you fight each other.
They'd have that something similar in Kid Icarus. Like that literally those like icons even are lifted straight from City Trial. It's cool because you're riding around at high speeds through this like city collecting power-ups for whatever 6 minutes or 5 minutes or something, and then you're thrown into various modes. And I remember there's one where you do kind of like a raid boss against like King Dedede, where it's just like you and your powered up friends like taking on King Dedede together, and it's like incredibly difficult. And I remember like beating that with my friend Ira and his sister, who was my first girlfriend, and like we felt like champions doing that. Like, yeah, just it's a cool mode, dude. I wish they'd find a way to bring that back in some way, even if it's not like a fully remade thing. But if they did like a Kirby Air Ride City Trial 99 or something, like I'd be way into that.
That would be pretty cool. I owned Kirby Air Ride, and before I owned it, I rented it a couple times. Like I liked it, but I never spent as much time with it as I would have if I had friends that were interested in playing it. Because at that time, my friends were into like Medal of Honor and stuff. Like they didn't want to play Kirby Air Ride with me. Also worth noting, Kirby Air Ride, that was the last Kirby game that Sakurai worked on, so it's funny that like that structure of City Trial that went on to be like a defining characteristic of a lot of his future games that started in his last Kirby game that he worked on. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, for me it would either be Dream Course or Mass Attack. Those are the two I think most deserving of a follow-up, but definitely Dream Course, like especially because it's been so long. Like, yeah, that's a Super Nintendo game. You could do so much more with it nowadays, especially with all the different Kirby copy abilities there are. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. We're breaking format a little bit this episode, but that's fine. I just wanted to have another break in here for a little bit more music. We're gonna go on a break, play you Shiver Star theme from Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards, and then Cold Course from Kirby Canvas Curse, and we will be right back. And that was Shiver Star Theme from Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, and Cold Course from Kirby Canvas Curse. I want to note real quick with Shiver Star and I guess Cold Course, I specifically went on my way, and this probably wouldn't have been noticed if I didn't say anything, so I have to say something to pat myself on the back. I went out of my way to have a song from every Kirby game that was remixed in Canvas Curse. So we have
nice
an adventure song, a Dreamland 1, 2, 3 song, and a 64 song in here. I really wanted to accomplish that for some reason, but I don't know. I felt proud about it. Thanks.
No, well done. I respect it. It truly does make it like the definitive Kirby Canvas Curse podcast on the internet. I think
probably true. I'd have to track it down, but yeah, probably true. Yeah, when it comes to these songs, I don't have that much to note other than Shiver Star is definitely my favorite Kirby 64 song.
Sure.
It's not just because of the song itself, though it is also my favorite song, but also that's my favorite area in Kirby 64. Again,
I agree.
We alluded to it a little bit, but Kirby has, like, the later Kirby games in particular have genuinely good lore. And I feel like Kirby 64 was like the first one that like actually really started to go for it, because Shiver Star, the planet, is heavily hinted at to be like a post-apocalyptic Earth.
A nuclear winter.
Right, like a nuclear winter Earth. And like, so everything is very serene and beautiful and like, yeah, Christmassy sounding when you are there as Kirby visiting. But yeah, the implication is that like, yeah, like one of the levels there is like an abandoned mall. And for one, I love abandoned malls in video games. They revisit that in Kirby in the Forgotten Land. But also stuff like Zombies Ate My Neighbors. The mall levels were always my favorite. But yeah, I just love that as like a 10-year-old kid that rented Kirby 64. When I realized that like on the level select screen that Shiver Star it has like the continents of Earth, like the exact shapes of Earth's continents. I'm like, whoa, like that as a kid, that was like mind blowing at the time.
Yeah. It feels like you've just uncovered like some kind of, deep knowledge or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. I love that. It's a cool, and it's my favorite area of the game too. And, probably my favorite, I don't know, I'd have to reevaluate the soundtrack, but probably my favorite song. I mean, yeah, it's your classic like bell heavy snow stage, sort of theme. But again, it's got what I've been talking about this whole episode, the Kirby arpeggiated chords and stuff throughout. It's got that wind flute lead, which is, to me, that's like the sound. Like if you could pinpoint a sound for the Nintendo 64, like that's it. Like if I just hear like a second of that, I'm like, oh, this is an N64 game.
Sure, yeah.
And so it's just got all of those check boxes. And then Cold Course, like it's interesting because it's far more like restrained. I feel like it's kind of muted. It actually kind of reminds me of like a Pokemon song.
Oh, okay.
A little bit. I don't know, but I don't have too many notes on these.
Yeah, this is one where like I found Cold Course, the Canvas Curse song, to like be much less interesting all around than the original.
Right.
I don't know. Like I get why they would remove the sleigh bells from like a tonal point of view. Like Canvas Curse is just a much faster paced game and whatever. But like to me, don't remove the sleigh bells. If you got sleigh bells in a wintry video game song, just keep the sleigh bells in there. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Even like the glitchy aspects of Cold Course, I just didn't find like anywhere near as interesting as the rest of the Canvas Curse soundtrack. This is one where honestly I picked this pair of songs specifically because of Shiver Star as opposed to the Canvas Curse song. So yeah, I don't really have many notes on it either, other than Kirby 64, not that good of a mainline Kirby game, but it's fun. Hey, it's on the NSO also. I guess like all these Kirby games besides Canvas Curse are on NSO.
Most of them, yeah.
So yeah, if you want to play them, I feel like Kirby 64 is like the most in need of like a reevaluation, because I think people really like that one, and I think it's not very good, but it does have its charms.
Yeah, I actually, like, I played, I don't know, maybe like an hour of it or something when it came to NSO, which is pretty typical for me. It's not often that I, like, replay entire games when they hit NSO. It's happened a few times, but it's not often, especially not with N64 games, because just in general, I think most N64 games don't hold up.
If they're not Paper Mario, they didn't age too well, yeah.
Yeah, like I think the only two N64 games I've fully replayed on NSO are Paper Mario and Banjo-Kazooie.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah, but for this, I played like an hour of it, and there is still a lot to like about it for me. But yeah, this seems like one, especially that DDD design. Like, I love DDD's design. It's probably my favorite DDD design in the whole series. Is from Kirby 64, and just like the look of it, the weirdness of it. The weird, like, copy ability fusion junk going on.
Dude.
Body horror stuff.
Yeah, Kirby, when you get, like, two of the spikes, his arms turn into, like, giant, like, weird piranha plant cacti. It's very weird. You can also get, like, a Darth Maul lightsaber, like a dual-sided lightsaber by combining, I think it's, like, cutter and electric. As a kid, that was like the coolest thing on. Again, we talked about Star Wars on here before. I'm not the biggest Star Wars dude, but like a double-sided lightsaber, yeah, that was cool as hell back then. So to have Kirby with a double-sided lightsaber, like, pretty cool, man, pretty cool. Yeah, Kirby 64. Honestly, once I'm done editing this podcast, that's probably gonna be the next Kirby game I play.
What you're gonna hit up.
That's probably gonna be what I play, actually.
I feel like I want to play Dream Course after this.
Yeah, I haven't replayed Dream Course in a long time. Maybe since the Wii U. I should probably do that. Remember on the Wii U?
It'll be better.
Yeah, that's true. Remember on the Wii U when, like, it was failing, like, right out the gate, and then they were trying to come up with, like, programs to get people to buy the Wii U, and then for the Famicom's 30th anniversary, they were like, you can buy some virtual console games for 30 cents. Like, you could buy Super Metroid for 30 cents and stuff. I think they released Kirby Superstar, Dream Course, and Dreamland 3 on, like, the same day. And then, like, if you bought one, then you got the other two at a discount or something. It was something real weird and specific, but it worked because otherwise I wouldn't have rebought those games for like the 7th time. But I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I get a massive discount on them. Whatever, might as well. Yeah, Kirby kind of the king of the Super Nintendo era for me, but maybe we save that for a different episode where we want to really heat things up. With that said, do we want to get into the YouTube comment oversharing corner?
Let's do it. We've got a pretty stacked corner, pretty full corner this week.
Yeah, we do.
This episode, rather.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You did say this week. We're never going to get over that. Whatever.
We're never going to get over it.
As a reminder, this is the section of the show where we read off any funny or memorable or interesting or insane comments we stumbled across while grabbing songs for this episode. I'll just start with one. I don't even remember which ones I wrote down. Oh, I do remember this one, actually. Okay. This is from YouTube user KSR1581 commenting on Ravine Road 3 years ago. One of the most definitely banged two themes while playing CC. Man.
I was taking a sip of water when you read that, and that almost killed me. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Man, I love the game soundtrack more than the gameplay itself sometimes. What's funny about this is that I definitely don't think he means it as it comes across. I think he's meaning like this is a banger is basically what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
That is not what he wrote.
Yeah. I mean, it's not what he wrote, and the implications of that sentence are strong.
Like, yeah, like you're banging to the entire Kirby Canvas Curse OST, but this is one of the most banged two themes. Yeah,
there's probably no more disgusting energy than that I can imagine.
I don't know. We've had some pretty bad ones.
I don't even mean just for the comment. I just mean for the imagery that comment puts in my head is pretty rough.
You want to go with one of yours?
Sure. I added a few of these kind of at the 0 hour because I was just having a good time just looking at some of the comments of these, and I was like, you know what, let's just throw some extra ones in here. I liked this one a lot. This is from YouTube user JChiptunator from just 7 months ago, which is by far out of all of these the most recent comment. Most of these are from multiple years. But this is just 7 months ago. So like in 2024, JChiptunator commented, I had a unique experience of playing the game with this music playing while dining on a restaurant chain back in the summer of 2005. When the chiptune-esque sounds played, I thought it was the cash registers were possessed to sing on their own. I looked around only to find out that it was this level. Heh.
Yeah, I really liked the head.
The head at the end is really good. Heh. It's just a good comment, a very evocative comment, very just like, I'm imagining him just like sitting at like a restaurant and like looking around thinking the cash registers are singing to him, oh, it's just this game that I'm playing.
Dude, what's funny also, I remember getting Kirby Canvas Curse like right after it came out. I was staying at my friend's place for the summer in Wisconsin because my family had moved to Ohio by then. And I specifically remember we went to GameStop, I picked this up, and then we went to eat at a Chinese restaurant, and I was the kind of like socially awkward dork that I don't even realize that it's rude as a 15-year-old to just be playing my DS at the dinner table
me too.
with my friend's family. Like, it didn't even occur to me. I'm like, I'm playing Kirby Canvas Curse. I just bought this game. It's on a handheld. I'm playing it. What are you talking about? So yeah, I have very vivid memories of playing this right after it came out in a Chinese restaurant, and probably people were looking at me and wondering what was wrong with me, but I didn't notice.
Thinking the cash registers were possessed.
Yeah.
When you got to Silver Submarine, yeah, that's it.
Since that was the most recent comment, we'll go with the oldest comment here. This is from YouTube user Marigio300X, which I like. I guess Marigio is a comment of Mario and Luigi or something, but
oh, okay, yeah.
They commented on Cold Course 15 years ago. Raise your, and your is misspelled as Y-O-R. It's, raise your hand if this music is awesome! Exclamation mark. And then it had like no thumbs up or whatever. And thumbs up probably didn't even exist on YouTube 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But then YouTube user Jellycore1316 responded 2 years ago. I raised my hand as well, and hope you're doing well. 13 years later. And then they had to do like the two little carrot top things to make like a pleased little face.
Yeah.
Just thought that was cute.
Very wholesome. Very cute comment. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I should comment on more like stuff on YouTube. Like, it makes me want to like do stuff like that more, you know?
Yeah, I know. It's funny you say that because after our last episode, the remix episode, I was listening to a lot more Harpsichord specifically stuff, and there was a Final Fantasy V harp cover she did like years ago that, even though it was years ago, I still commented on it because I'm like, hey, I've just been listening to your stuff all day for the past few hours, and this one really got to me, kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, I want to go out of my way to let people know, even in the dumb YouTube comments, how I feel about their stuff.
Yeah, there's I do this thing often where I love to sing, and I'll find like people, like there's a thing on YouTube where people will sing like one half of duets, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a YouTube, her name's like Miss, I don't know how you pronounce her name, I think it's like Ms. Chloe Disco or something like that, and I watch a bunch of her videos and sing along to a bunch of her videos all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And one time I just was like, this is like a 10-year-old video of her singing like a song from Tangled that I sing a duet with her on. She was probably never gonna see it, so I just commented like, thanks Chloe, we crushed this one. And then like she hearted it and like pinned it and stuff, and that was kind of funny.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, so I should do that more. This comment makes me want to do that more.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna go out. You know, I talk the talk all the time. We gotta tell people how their work makes you feel.
Totally.
But yeah, I never was a big YouTube commenter, despite loving reading YouTube comments. Yeah, this is a promise from me. I will go on my way to leave more YouTube comments in the future.
That's a Bit Harmony guarantee, if I ever heard one. All right, well, this comment is from YouTube user, I don't even know, is it, I guess it's Marks, M-A-H-R-C-K-S,
Yeah, maybe it's meant to be.
Marks.
Maybe it's meant to be like Marks, like a different way to spell the Kirby character Marks. I'm not sure.
Oh, maybe, yeah. And then 8031. They commented on Butter Building 6 years ago. This song describes perfectly what's going on in my body.
I mean, yeah, the comments are already pretty good, but yeah, describes perfectly that what's is very good because like I think that actually still works.
It does, yeah.
Like the notes are telling me that grammatically that's not correct, but I think it does actually work because like I don't know, it sounds like a weird old English gentleman. Like it describes perfectly that what's going on.
that which is what is happening within my body.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little much, but it's funny because it starts like this big like thread of comments of people like saying like there's butter going on in your body and stuff, and then like one person was just like, this thread sucks. It's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, butter's going on in a lot of our bodies. I can tell you, I've eaten a lot of butter in my life, as evidenced by talking about butter for like 10 minutes earlier in this episode. For our last YouTube comment for the moment, we've got YouTube user Sonic Tails 54321 commented on Tiny Town 6 years ago. I still never understood how DDD fit into the tubes. And again, this is just a reference. That level has like these clear plastic tubes that like suck you in and spit you out somewhere else. And that like, yeah, when you're playing as DDD, he just looks like he's too big to fit in the plastic tubes.
Right.
Yeah, that's all it's a reference to. I just thought it was cute.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Especially with the username and everything. Like you know, you get a good sense for sorry about my mic. You get a good sense for who Sonic Tails 54321 is by that comment.
He's someone that thinks a lot about DDD being squeezed into tubes, yeah.
Yeah.
With that said, that has been the bulk of the episode. Stick around for a little bit. We still have to announce our next episode. We got haikus. Did we? I don't think we even said in regards to voicemails. We never read off the number of this episode, did we?
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, we should definitely do that. Y'all, send in your voicemails. We love your voicemails. Send them in. You can dial 216-230-8540. That number is again 216-230-8540, which is also always available in the show notes. So again, just another reason to make sure you're looking at the show notes for the episode. You can also send in your voicemails to bitharmonypod@gmail.com, and we will play them on the show. We love your voicemails. Please send them in.
Yeah, please do. They're always a blast to listen to. And again, I wanted to make note of this. Like, yeah, y'all don't always need to send in music either. Like, if you like Shy Guy, if you have a question you want to ask or a prompt or whatever, you could just send those in too. That's totally fine.
Or a roast, like Wilk did. You could just do that. Talk about ska.
And then he's going to get roasted right back.
That's right. Yeah, we'll play it. I mean, you know, you might not like what happens, but we will play it. Cool. Well, yeah, thank you guys for listening. Join the Discord. You can go in there. So it's free. Links to that are in the show notes too. Great community. You can join us there. Sound off on show topics in there. That's also where Matt will poll and like remind people to send in voicemails and stuff like that. And, stuff gets posted in there. You can also support us on Patreon for early access and other exclusive perks. Thank you to Ligerwoods330, who we talked about, I think, last week on the show, who left that really lovely comment on the last episode. Mm-hmm. They came in to the Patreon at the Triforce tier, which is amazing and just incredibly kind, and also joined the Discord despite like not having used Discord ever before.
Sure.
So I don't know, like it's just very, very kind person. So thank you a lot to Ligerwoods330 for coming into the Patreon at the Triforce tier, and welcome to Justin J as a free member at the Patreon as well. Justin J is the director of The Other Side, which is a series that I do voice work in.
Oh.
And he's checking out the Patreon. So very, very cool. And as for everyone else, let's do some shout outs real quick. Bit Harmony is, of course, made possible by viewers like you. Thank you. Let's thank our Triforce tier supporters: Adam Caparello, Bowza, Dan and Luma, Danielina Hosa, Foolish Fuji, John Cummins, Josh Vaughn, Ligerwoods330, Shy Guy, Sparky, The Don Rob, and Uncle Randy. And thank you to our Golden Banana Tier supporters, Alan, #Look to the Cookie, Andrew Wilkins, Bill Tucker, Bob Loblaw, SAZ, Gamer Jason, Liam D, Marcus O'Neill, Phelan Ward, Rob Yapel, Sean Ashton, Solo, and Tim A, aka NeoPrime33, aka Nintendo Dad number 4. Big thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. Get a 7-day free trial to the Golden Banana Tier over there. Again, early access to this show, a bunch of other stuff. We're actually got some stuff to announce with all of that pretty soon, with some other content coming up pretty soon after a weird month. We're finally kind of getting back to normalcy, so I appreciate everybody who checks us out over there. Thanks all.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for hanging out and listening and doing whatever. Thanks for handing over money. That's also cool. When it comes to the next episode, that should be going up on September 8th, and we are finally we're doing it. We're doing the Promised Dust Force episode.
It's happening. Wow, I can't believe it. All this time later, we're finally doing it.
All because I didn't want to have it too close to Anodyne 2 Return to Dust, because it's just too much
valid
dust.
Though.
Yeah.
Too dusty. Yeah, valid. I can't wait to do this. This is like, I mean, this was one of the very early, like, I mean, as evidenced by that, like, this could have easily been like one of our first episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it's also like, I think it's one of the best video game soundtracks of all time, like straight up. But also, I never gelled with the game, but I'm curious to give the game another go. I've already reinstalled it on Steam. Definitely looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait. Finally doing it.
Do we want to then get into the haikus?
Yes, let's do some haikus. I don't remember what... We've been like trading them off, and I don't remember who went first last time.
I think we goofed. I think I did it first the last 2 episodes. I think you should go first this time.
All right, I can do that. Okay. Well, I guess a little bit of preamble.
Okay.
Before I read mine. I went with this. I tried to, as I typically do, I tried to make something very evocative, specifically about kind of like the intro stages of the game, the kind of vibes that Kirby Canvas Curse makes me think of. When I think of the game, I really just think of like kind of the first few stages, and like the backgrounds I think are really good in Kirby Canvas Curse, and I tried to evoke some of that with this haiku. So, with all that being said, drawing my own path. Rainbows etched into sunset. The world's my canvas.
Damn. That's pretty good. Drawing my own path. Yeah, that's very, very good. Yeah.
The world's my canvas. Yeah, because that early in the game, like those early stages, is like that nice like sunset background. I really like it a lot.
Yeah, I think that's the Ravine Road song plays on that. Yeah. Yeah, no, very good. Mine is just way more dumb. But probably I should have just been aiming for dumb, because it's not as dumb as it could have been. But anyway, best Nintendo lead, rounder now than yesterday, so versatile too.
Rounder now than yesterday is fantastic. I think we're all rounder now than yesterday.
That's true. I saw my wife and she was on vacation, and we did a lot of cleaning. We cleaned this like big like full length mirror that we just haven't cleaned it in like years. It was so dusty. It was really gross.
Yeah. And
seeing myself with that much clarity, God didn't intend for this. It was real bad.
In 4K.
Yeah, I made the joke that I could see myself better in the mirror than I can see things in real life, and yeah, it's bad. It's bad. I was like, oh, I am 34. In fact, I look much worse than 34. But
I hear you, dude. My webcam, whenever I intentionally like lose sharpness on my webcam, because otherwise it's the clarity's too good, and I don't like it one bit.
You dab some Vaseline over the camera.
Oh yeah, just lick my thumb and kind of smear it a little bit.
Anyway, taking you out this week, or God, it's not this week, taking you out this episode, we've got the staff roll from Kirby Canvas Curse, and we've got one final YouTube comment to go along with it. This is a YouTube user, a depressed dragon, fantastic username, commented on Staff Roll 3 years ago. I remember coming home from the last day of 5th grade to listen to this and take a nap. Man, those were the days.
Those were the days, man. Rounder now than yesterday.
Yeah, rounder now than yesterday. A depressed dragon story. But yeah, that has been it from us at Bit Harmony this episode. Join us next time. We'll talk about some Dust Force. Thank you all for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.